welcome back to season 3 of Splice and Splatter, the film podcast where classic horror
It's modern gore.
We're your hosts. I'm Siena.
And I'm Al.
And
we're haunted today.
We're haunted. We're here. We're haunted. We've got candelabra if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, Siena's got magnificent hair, as always, to be fair. But
Al's got magnificent coat.
I am Ichabod Crane today. So again, watch our YouTube.
Honestly,
at least
so
peek.
hot. I'm obsessed.
Thank you. I was like, I had like a dress ready for it.
Oh, this is so much better, honestly.
I'm more masked than I am femme.
Yes.
So we got the bow. That's the femme of it all.
I like had to go full Jessica Chastain for this one.
It's very fitting.
God,
she's so good at
she's also so hot in this.
Listen,
like what a pairing for
this episode is just a bisexual's fucking dream and also nightmare because it's like how
God I know bisexual panic everywhere. That's the true horror of this episode is the bi panic. The number of times while I was watching that Data just turned to me and goes, tits.
Yeah.
Tits.
Yeah.
For both movies.
Yeah. I mean, these were two I think we've been waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about, specifically Crimson Peak, we've brought up
so many times, especially
for years.
Yeah. Because I think we both are on the, like, big time on the, it's an underappreciated masterpiece camp.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God, do people like not?
People don't get it. And I'm here to tell you why.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad we're pairing these because Sleepy Hollow.
I feel like it's probably similar.
Sleepy Hollow is pretty, because I know you hadn't watched it.
Hadn't watched it.
It did really well. I do feel like people, it's gotten like lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I like
a little bit.
Weirdly, again, hadn't seen it before watching it for this episode, but so it came out in 99,
which is wild. It feels later.
Yeah, like it feels very much like Sweeney Todd era.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I remember by the time I was in like kindergarten, first grade, which was like several years later, but like Sleepy Hollow was like all the rage. And I remember like a lot of other like elementary school kids, like that was the horror movie that you were scared to watch if you were like 6 years old in Agua Fria in the early 2000s.
Sure.
And so like I very much had that early 2000s aura to me, even though it's pre that.
Yeah, I think it's truly like one of Burton's, like, I mean,
he's really in full stride here.
And it's like a really polished movie for him.
Yeah, like which is kind of
arguably
odd
the only polished movie I think he has, and I don't mean that in like a slight to like, because Beetlejuice is off, like Mars Attacks. There's so many great things.
The things about them,
but they're not polished.
Yeah, they're rough around the edges.
Yeah. And this one's
smooth.
It's kind of wild to think about too, because it feels so weird where it fits in. And it's funny as we talk about like special effects, especially we talk about like both of these films in tandem, but Tim Burton's opinions on this film and like what he wanted to do, and then I have feelings about what he does now. I don't like his use of CG. I think again, take these men's money away or only allow them to put it towards certain things.
But I think both of these films, sorry to interrupt, I think both of these films are such good examples of like the marriage of practical and CG at its most effective.
Yeah.
And like, I found it very satisfying, the VFX in this.
And they're so different
than what he does
in the best
now, even what I'd seen him do before. It's very like,
and this is Del Toro too, Crimson Peak, right? I totally forget that every time because it was my second time watching it. I think second or third, max.
Mine too. Did you see it in theaters when it came out?
No, I only saw it. I was way late to the party, but Tom Hiddleston is the love of my life. He is Loki Laufeyson, and I love him.
I feel like I'm sure that the stuff that I'm going to bring in about Tom Hiddleston for this is probably going to be a lot of stuff you already know. But if it's not, it's going to make you love him even more.
I don't know if my heart can handle loving that, but he's one of the few men in Hollywood that I love. So
he's really one of the good ones. Yeah.
And just his puppy dog eyes will get me every fucking time. I just almost start weeping every time that man looks sad on screen.
There's a lot of Tom Hiddleston looking sad in this movie.
So much.
Do you have a tidbit?
I had one and I ended up throwing it back in the mix of my stuff. I have 12 pages today.
Oh my God,
so this is my beefiest in a while.
Yeah. I think we both were like, we have to cut ourselves off to leave time for the gab.
Yeah.
We knew there would be gab for
so
these.
This is going to be a long one for sure.
Yes.
As if they all aren't. Haven't been 3 hours lately.
Truly. But this, I feel like it feels very much and I think there's a lot of reasons for this, especially when we get to Crimson Peak that we'll talk about, but this feels very much like a companion piece to our Interview with a Vampire / Bram Stoker's Dracula episode.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot in common in many ways. So,
and you've already seen the new Del Toro Frankenstein
have.
theaters. I'm a jealous bitch over here about that, but I'm sure because you guys are listening to this on Monday, you've probably all watched it.
Probably watched it.
Gonna watch it after, and so it was the perfect like palette to go into Frankenstein.
And it's Crimson Peak and Frankenstein share a lot of crew and a lot of aesthetic approaches in common. So it's a really good tee up to it.
Yeah. As for someone who finished it this morning, because we both fell asleep early last
Yeah, we both. Was it also during
season.
Sleepy Hollow for you?
It was during Crimson Peak.
Oh, that's so funny.
I tried my darndest, and my bed's cozy, and it's dark out early,
Yeah.
and the movies and the music, I'm just like lulled to sleep.
Such good scores.
By
on
screams
both of these.
and
and ghosts.
Do you have a tidbit though?
I do. I'm trying to decide if I should start there. It's about the casting of mine.
Ooh.
Do you wanna start there, or do you wanna save it for my section?
What do you want to do? Do you want to let us know now and have to wait? Or
I
do you
think
want to save it?
Yeah, let me bring it in now. Let me
okay.
bring it in now and tee up the conversation with that. So, obviously, this is the second film following Only Lovers Left Alive to star Tom Hiddleston and Mia Wasikowska across from each other. Which
she's in. I haven't seen that yet. Still, she's in that.
Oh my god, I forgot you haven't seen it. You are gonna fucking adore
I'm gonna
that
die.
film.
Yeah,
Al,
I'm saving it.
And it's another one that I'm like, we must cover it on the podcast.
I think I'm saving it for them.
Yeah, it has a lot aesthetically in common with Crimson Peak, and it came out the year before Crimson Peak. And I would be shocked if that weren't a big part of why Crimson Peak has the cast it does, because neither of them were the first choice or the first one cast for this project.
Aww.
Do you know about this?
No.
Okay, I was gagged to find out who the two leads originally contracted for this.
Oh no.
In the Mia Wasikowska role, it was going to be Emma Stone.
Oh man.
Yeah, isn't that like? I think she would have done a great job.
Yeah. I mean, she's got those like very big doll eyes for this too.
And that kind of
what year was this?
Crimson 2015.
God, what a wild time. That's really kind of
like just pre La La Land.
Oh, see, she hadn't made like the leap into the
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like she and Mia were kind of on the same level at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so gonna be Emma Stone. Scheduled conflict comes up because this film kept getting pushed. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But scheduled conflict comes up. Emma Stone drops the project, and then the man who's cast across from her is Benedict Cumberbatch.
No way.
Yeah. And Benedict Cumberbatch then drops the project, but goes on the record to state that it's not because of scheduling.
Uh-oh.
He goes on an interview. I was like, what's the tea?
Yeah.
He goes on in interviews to talk about the fact that it wasn't that it was amicable, according to him, but it was a creative differences breakup with Guillermo del Toro, which is fascinating. And I
sign on to it. I would be like, you sign on to him to be like, whatever you want, sir.
Yeah, it's Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. Also, this is very quintessential Guillermo del Toro. Like, what did you expect you were going to get?
Interesting.
Yeah, so gonna be Benedict Cumberbatch and Emma Stone.
Interesting choice to pair together, I would say.
I think that what we got is so much better. Like, I really think, and I adore Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
I do not think that he would have been able to get the same degree of vulnerability across that Tom Hiddleston has. And that's so much of what's key to what makes this character different from other similar characters.
And he seems like, to a point, naive, too.
Yeah, and I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch plays naive
No,
well.
he seems like a very smart man.
Yes!
I mean, so does Hiddleston, but, like, he can play.
Hiddleston, there's, like, a little bit of a waif to him. Like,
yes, I love him. He's perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a wild casting change, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, just tee us up with a little bit of tea.
I'm just going to say I hate that I have to get through 12 pages of notes now before I find out more.
I feel like that's like,
really
if
fun.
you know anything about the making of Crimson Peak, that's probably the one thing you know. So I was like, let's get that out at the start.
God, I love that. I did not know.
It looks like Travis knew from that reaction.
Oh,
Travis
didn't know.
Wild,
Head shape.
right? Yeah.
Damn.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm
Anyway.
excited. Well, we got to talk about Sleepy
Lead us into
Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. Oh no,
Lead
twist
us
my
in.
arm.
I have some taglines to start off. I feel like taglines are more fun when they're bad.
Yeah.
These ones
Does
are
this
good.
have good taglines? No.
Well, I'll read a couple, which is the obvious, right? We have heads will roll. Don't lose your head.
Oh my God.
Watch your head. Your heads are history. So those are the first few, which are like bad. I love this one. A man of science, a woman of mystery, a legend that will never die.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of good ones.
Mhm.
Like who will come next? And then obviously for the marketing of the film, on November 19th, he rides again.
Oh.
So they're very good. So we're gonna skip past them.
No fun.
No fun. No fair. So director Tim Burton. I know, baby Gage. It feels like a very perfectly Tim Burton here. Let me hand this to you film.
Really does.
But however, initially development for Sleepy Hollow began in 1993, which I think is kind of crazy. At Paramount still, which is a Paramount film.
Interesting.
With Kevin Yeager set to direct it. So Tim Burton was not the first choice for this. Why? So if you recognize his name, you'll know him because he is a special effects guy known for Freddy Krueger's iconic makeup and special effects on the film. The design and execution of Chucky, the doll Chucky, the Crypt Keeper creature from Tales from the Crypt. And so you might be asking yourself, why was a very
well-respected
famous
FX artist,
special effects guy going to do Sleepy Hollow? Is because the film was originally set to be a low-budget slasher film.
I want to see that version too.
I know, me too. I'm like, get him back in there.
I want both.
And so why didn't he get the gig, or keep the gig, I should say? Because he apparently had some disagreements with Paramount. I wish I knew what they were, resulting in him being basically demoted, which I'm like, demoted or handed off to the thing that he does best. To do prosthetics. For this film. So he is all over the place in this film still. But I'm like, I guess good on him that I'm assuming as we kind of move forward with the script and how things change, I'm assuming it just didn't line up with probably what Paramount wanted, because it probably just wasn't palatable for audiences at the time. They were like, let's make this bigger than it was. And as we get through casting and script, we'll kind of see probably where the disagreements laid, because I would assume if you got demoted from director to doing special effects, but you still worked on it, it couldn't have been that bad of a thing.
Yeah. If it had been that bad, you would have just walked.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've got that kind of a career. Like, there are other projects
he
that
can
want
work on
him.
anything. He has a long list. So so he stayed on the project, and it was June of 1998, so many years later, that Tim Burton was finally hired.
So he was only brought on like a year and a little bit before the film's release. So he had like no time in pre-pro.
Hit the ground running. They worked a lot on stuff, but also very Tim Burton.
Wow.
Yeah. So hired very, very close to the project. So Tim Burton remembers getting the script for the first time. I pulled a lot of quotes from a book I have, Burton on Burton. I've used it before for Beetlejuice. I have like my notes in there from college. It's my favorite. It actually had a lot of pages on this. So all my quotes are from that.
Amazing.
So it's a little outdated, but he doesn't really do interviews anymore. So probably the most up-to-date thing we have from Tim Burton. So he says, quote, after Superman. So Superman was a project that was going to star Nicolas Cage, and it got dropped. It was called Superman Lives, and it was going to be called Superman something else at some point. I'm looking at you. So that basically fell from under him. You can still Google it, and there's a lot of information about it. But so after Superman, he said, I didn't know what to do. Then they sent me this script, and I really liked it. It was very strong. I had never really done something that was more of a true horror film, and it was funny because those are the kind of movies that I probably like more than any other genre. Duh.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating story, a story that a lot of people know, but nobody's really read. Everybody thinks they've read the book, including myself, but actually I only read it not that long ago.
Interesting.
So as we know, the credits say it is from an 1820s short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by author Washington Irving. And Tim Burton talks about that too, saying it's one of the first early American horror stories, even though its roots are based on other myths, as we know. And I'm going to put American horror story in quotes because we know what land we're on. We know. Somebody that said Washington Irving ripped off from a German folktale, which seems appropriate because it has dramatic feel to it. So I love that he
Oh, that's so well, and I also saw it's a German co-production,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It's yeah, like a US and German
That
production, which
just
we'll talk about.
yeah, because I was
The
super curious
location
about that.
is fascinating.
Oh, I'm so
It wasn't
excited.
intended to be that. But I
Interesting.
love it because even though it wasn't intended to be that, it's funny that he nods to the
Yeah.
story being that. So everything like worked out perfectly
Oh,
on this film. So writers, we have Andrew Kevin Walker. He wrote the film Seven, Metalocalypse, Army of Doomstar, and had some uncredited script rewrites for Fight Club and Event Horizon. So
interesting. So a lot of Fincher
yeah,
work.
yeah,
Huh.
and big projects.
Yeah.
And then we have uncredited screenwriter Tom Stoppard, who
Oh, why do I
do you
know his
recognize
name?
him? He was brought in by producer Scott Rudin to do the rewrites, mainly focusing on toning down the excessive violence in the original screenplay
Ah, from the
became
slasher version.
I
Yeah.
actually I don't have his credits on here,
God,
but
I feel
he
like my brain is
a lot
telling
of these
me
people have very long IMDb
yeah,
lists.
not surprising.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about this.
I'll
I
try
feel
to
like
pick it up.
Stoppard is also a theater guy. I feel like he might be a playwright, but
Ooh.
don't know if
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
we'll have Trev
Don't
chime
quote me
in.
on that. But
Cinematographer, we have Emmanuel Lubetsky. He's a Mexican cinematographer.
which
He's
also he and
insane.
GDT like came up together working on the same
No way.
shows.
Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense, actually.
Yeah. I like only
His
found that out as I was researching Crimson Peak.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
stop. His aesthetics are like
He's
insane.
incredible.
So if you don't know him, unlike the two of us who've looked him up, he received numerous awards, including 3 consecutive wins for Academy Award for Best
So
Cinematography
well deserved.
for 2013's Gravity, 2014's Birdman, 2015's The Revenant. He also was Oscar nominated for his work on 1995's A Little Princess, which I have been like rewatching all
Oh
my
my God.
childhood faves, and I didn't realize he
Amazing.
did that. So he's been around my entire
He
life.
also, I believe, is the one who shot Y tu mamá también.
Shut up.
And like used almost entirely like
God, that movie.
source lighting.
God,
Which
that
like
movie.
it's
Everyone, I know
he's
non-horror
incredible.
related, but also
Yeah.
kind of a horror.
But also like kind of, yeah.
It's kind of haunted me my entire fucking
yeah,
life.
100%.
I've seen it once. I can replay
yeah.
every fucking scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It will never leave my mind.
He also worked on Children of Men and The Tree of Life. So we've talked about him
Lots
on
of
here before.
Alfonso Cuarón work.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how did he get the gig other than being super fucking
The best.
talented?
Yeah.
It was Tim Burton who was impressed by his cinematography in 1998, Great Expectations, and so he brought him on from that.
Interesting.
So I love that an appreciation of work and bringing somebody on. And early in conversations, the two of them worked really well together, which I love. They had a great relationship. They talked about Sleepy Hollow, and they contemplated shooting the film not only in black and white, but old square like Academy ratio, which is 1:37:1, which it's for those that don't know, it's like a little bit wider than a square.
Well, because I saw you posted the video that was like Sleepy Hollow vertical.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's something about it being in a smaller frame that actually really suits
know.
the imagery.
Yeah. It's very old Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I have like a little fun fact for those that don't know. It was aspect ratio in 1932, and then similar ratios were used as early as 1928. So just a little, and then put a pin in black and white film for a
Cool.
second. We'll come back to that later.
Felt very like the Crow style. It's not black and white, but it's almost black
Yeah,
and white.
yeah. And that's what I like. Even on Instagram too, I posted like the 6 kind of screen grabs, and I'm just like, you don't, because it feels so lively, you don't feel the saturation as much as you would think, but then you look at it like that, you're like, holy shit, that thing is
that's black and white. Yeah.
That's
like
black and white.
It almost looks like hand-colored black and white, where there's like little pops of color, but the whole is like you'll have a day scene that's all yellow or a night scene that's all blue, but there's not much color distinction between
other
that.
than like the one pop of blood that we
Yeah.
get. So it's interesting kind of seeing it out of context of the film. Composer, obviously we have the one and only Danny Elfman. I don't have much. He kind of says the same thing for everything that he composes. I just thought it was kind of cool. He talks in an interview that when Tim Burton and him worked together on composing a film together, I think this was their 3rd project at the time. Tim Burton really talks about feeling and how he wants to feel, and especially being a horror film and kind of emoting certain vibes to us. So that's kind of how they work together, is just specifically on feeling. And I think that's so
cool. That's actually when I was working with Haley on my score, what she had me do was like go scene by scene and give her like the top 3 emotions in each scene.
Yeah.
I know one of them I just wrote sick, sad, gay.
Which is honestly emotions.
Yes.
We can all probably think of a song that emotes those things. So I think that's perfect. And it's such an interesting I just love that that's their language together.
That's so cool.
God, if I could be a fly on the wall. So we don't have much on him. We do have our production designer, which obviously we talk about a lot in this. His name's the best. It's Rick Heinrichs.
I adore him.
Amazing.
A moment for Rick.
Yeah, a moment for Rick Heinrichs. So Rick is a longtime Tim Burton collaborator, all the way back to being producer, additional designer, and sculptor on his first few shorts, Vincent, Hansel and Gretel, and Frankenweenie.
Oh my God.
So he has truly been there since the beginning.
I love that.
Which is so cool to see.
That's really sweet.
And it looks like he's worked on most, if not all, I wrote because I didn't want to go through every fucking thing on IMDb. It looks like pretty much every other project Tim Burton's done up to today, or at least up to 2019's Dumbo, they've worked together on stuff. So love to see it. Outside of working with Tim Burton, though, he has also been a production designer on 2 of the Pirates of the Caribbean films. 2004's Series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh my gosh, my first film in theaters.
And Coen Brothers, Fargo, and Big Lebowski.
Oh,
so
sick.
He really has this sense of space and like lived in space specifically.
Really ties the room together.
I truly. I love the fucking dude. So we'll talk about him throughout this. Starring, obviously, we have Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane.
Which, like, God damn it, he's so good in this.
So I was going to say, just like a little backup thing, we were talking about what to play at the theater.
Yeah.
And Sleepy Hollow came up, and Siena's like, Johnny Depp's, listen, he's great at acting. As we talk about, men in Hollywood are atrocious people.
Yeah.
I was so curious to hear your feedback after that conversation. I know.
He's so good in it.
He really, like, his sense of humor and his,
he had such good comedic timing at the peak of his career. And this is very much him at his peak. And like working with Burton, I feel like they were able for this period in time to match each other's energies so well in terms of the degree of heightenedness to the performance.
Yeah, this little surrealness of the whole thing.
The way it's, even when they're doing a straight horror, there's so much humor in it. It's they really they were such a good match.
I know.
When they were a good match.
And when they were good. And it's, again, there's feelings about them today with work. But
so officially retract my comment.
Yeah, no. Even his little timing when he's just like, horseman, headless. And then he just like faints. Just like, oh, you poor baby. You poor little baby.
His little face when he's being assigned by the judge to go see. And the judge says that their heads have been lopped off. And he's just like,
he's going to pass out at every moment. Which I have a letterbox review that talks about that.
I think both of these films, we have really good
soft men.
Yeah, soft fainting Victorian men.
Yeah, truly well matched. I wonder what they would do in a conversation. They would hate each other.
Faint.
Faint. You're like me. So obviously he's so perfect in it, but of course, as it is, he was not the first choice, at least by Paramount, to play Ichabod Crane.
At this point in Johnny Depp's career?
Listen, do you want to hear who they wanted? Brad Pitt, Liam Neeson, and Daniel Day-Lewis. Because they kind of talked about this. So from going from slasher film to kind of this, like, I'm assuming an in-between. I think they called it like an action film. To which Johnny Depp's like, not me.
No.
Couldn't be me. And Tim Burton's like, I don't know what an action film is.
Yeah. Peace.
So yeah, those were the 3 choices.
That
Paramount wanted, I will say. Not Tim Burton.
The only one I could see is Daniel Day. I could see Daniel Day-Lewis working. It wouldn't be as funny.
He kind of blends into his characters a little bit more than the other two.
It would have been fine. Yeah. It would have been acceptable.
Yeah. Would have been
Liam fucking Neeson?
Just, again, very action-y, bro-y, out of place. I don't think they have vintage face. So.
No, not at all. And for as terrible as a person he is, Johnny Depp very much has vintage face.
Yeah. He is a unique-looking individual.
He has
So
such a small mouth.
I know.
I was really thinking that this
he's got
time.
pointy little feet. I just watched
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands too, which
Mhm.
boy, that gets heartbreaking
Yeah, so
more and more every time you watch it.
it's
Just to
really
put
one
that
of
out
those
there.
that, like, as a kid, it was such a comfort movie, and it is not a comfort movie
Yeah,
anymore.
it's the saddest movie alive.
Yes,
So
yeah. Mhm.
thank God they brought on Johnny Depp. He was officially cast in July of 1998,
Oh my
making
god,
it
so
his
same time as Tim
yep.
Burton. Yeah.
making it his third collaboration with Tim Burton.
Wow.
Johnny Depp initially wanted Ichabod because obviously when he works with Burton, they develop things together. I think Burton gives his actors, especially he's worked with, a lot of creative freedom. So he really wanted it to be much like Washington Irving's description of the character in the original short story, which would have included a long prosthetic nose, huge
Oh my
ears,
god.
elongated fingers. But Paramount was like, no, mainly because they wanted a hot leading man, and they were like, we can't have this ugly fucker on screen like the short story has.
That's incredible.
I would have loved it.
I so would have loved
but it would have
that.
hammed it up a little
Oh,
bit.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but
I
after
also
Johnny,
just love that was his instinct, though. He's like, you know what? The really important thing about this character is long
give
fingers,
me long
baby."
fingers. I could just see how much fun he would have with those.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's what he wanted to be. Paramount was like, fuck no. And then he kind of read some of the revisions and was like, okay, maybe this isn't the place for it anymore. I
can live without those long
understand.
phalanges.
I'll give it up this time as long as Tim Burton promises me this in the future. And so Johnny Depp actually then, as he rethought about it, modeled Ichabod's detective personality from actor Basil Rathbone, which is a great fucking name, from the Sherlock Holmes films from the 30s.
I grew up watching those.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
I have not delved into those.
He does have kind of a very similarly, like, fey quality to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
good description for that. He also studied acclaimed actor Roddy McDowall as well, so he kind of based him off those two. And then Tim Burton added that the idea was to try and find an elegance in action, the kind that Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, or Vincent Price had. And obviously, we know Christopher Lee is in this film. We'll talk about that in a second too.
Such a great cameo.
Yeah. Oh my god, so good. Tim Burton also talked about his attraction to the script being the Ichabod character specifically for him, saying, quote, "I think I've always responded to the characters who have conflicts of interest within themselves. And Ichabod's character, who's really pretty fucked up in the sense that he is smart, but sometimes there's kind of this tunnel vision.
Yeah.
If you think too much, sometimes you can think yourself into a corner." Ugh, all too well. Reading the script, what I liked, it's me. Is this my quote?
Yeah.
What I liked about Ichabod is, which is different from the cartoons, cartoon sides of him, is that when written, it's very much somebody who's just living too much up here inside of his own head and not relating to what's happening to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that juxtaposed against a character with no head was a really good dynamic. I love his sense of humor. He's so giggly on the set of this film too. I'm just gonna put out.
That's cute.
I just want to give a little nod to stunt people in this. So Dominic Priest was Depp's stunt double as Ichabod. He was the stunt coordinator on Outlander, stunt performer in Wonder Woman 1984, and on House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. So very big career. And
Game of Thrones crossover in mine too.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
And then we have Sam Fior. He's a little 7-year-old Ichabod. Never did anything before or after this. This was it. He's very creepy to me.
Yeah. He's really
perfect.
terrifying. Yeah.
He's perfect.
I
wish he went on to
he didn't do
other
anything else.
Tim Burton projects. I feel like he could have played whatever.
Yeah.
We have Christina Ricci as Katrina Van Tassel. Great name.
Oh my god.
Great performance. She's
great costumes.
Oh my god, the costumes.
Great
in
looks.
this. Oh my god, yeah. Just her kind of ditziness about her. So obviously, I don't feel like we need to talk about what she's been in. She's Wednesday Addams. The end. She described her character as
Prozac Nation.
Oh
yeah.
I had Yellow Jackets on here, which I've not seen either. So
wait, it is Prozac Nation that I'm thinking of, right? That's Christina Ricci. Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
We're
gonna yes and this.
She
Yes,
described her character as a sort of like fairy tale princessy character, very one-sided, no emotional depth.
I'm obsessed.
So
and
that's
boy does she play that.
Boy does she. It's such a funny pairing, like the two of their kind of like aloofness to a point characters, but in very
and also
different ways.
just like both being people who I think the characters think they're deeper than they are.
Absolutely.
And they both play that so
they're just very
hilariously.
hollowed people.
Yes. Yeah.
Tim Burton said he loved her for the role, saying she's like if Peter Lorre and Betty Davis had a
Oh
child.
my God.
She's got this mysterious quality. You look at her and you don't quite know what's going on. I think he means that in a compliment. She's like a silent movie actor, and I like people like that.
That is such a good. I'm stunned.
Right?
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
oh man, he really nailed that with her. But silent movie actress, I think is so interesting because you probably could turn off this movie, and I mean, that's what they said in film school too. You should be able to watch a film by
with the
muting
sound
it.
off. Yeah.
So, but I love that. So we have Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. Wild casting,
insane.
No lines of dialogue
with like piranha teeth too.
Piranha teeth.
Yeah,
the teeth always feel goofy to me.
Yeah.
I think that's why he only roars, because he can't talk with those little chompers, you know? I wonder if he filed them down himself.
It seems like it. That was very much my headcanon.
I still want to get little.
I was picturing him like,
he's like, he's like, I look fierce. I can't talk, but I can yell. So I want to talk about his stunt doubles for a second, because I don't have a lot about him. He just looks like
he's in the movie for like a hot second,
just screaming. He looks like he had a great time. So who was his stunt double? We have two of them. First, we have Rob Inch, who was the stunt coordinator on Black Widow, The Last Duel, Jurassic World, Transformers, and Star Wars, and so many other Marvel projects, and also From a Galaxy Far, Far Away. I thought that was funny.
Amazing.
We have another Headless Horseman stunt double by the name of Ray Park, which some of you are probably screaming and gagged.
Familiar.
He is known for portraying Darth Maul,
which
is why I think every single scene with the swords, that man can wield a lightsaber.
That makes
so
so much sense.
So I would say if you want to know who's who, the one with the sword is probably Ray Park.
Okay,
so
yeah, that makes sense.
That was so cool. And I have like so many like pins. I'm like kind of put a pin in Star Wars. We're gonna get back to that at some point.
Cool.
We have Lisa Marie as Lady Crane. Not only did she, I feel like people know her for dating Tim Burton.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Were they dating at this time?
I want to say they were dating at this time. He has a lot of like. He does a lot of photography projects with her too that you can see that are like beautiful, but very much his muse. I want to say they might have been they were dating at this time. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say this felt like peak time for that because she was in everything that he was doing, and then she stops.
Yeah, that
they've been dating since like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Whoa! Oh, since Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, damn.
Interesting.
Okay. I'm not really into the intricacies of celebrity dating things, so it's not something I care about.
Yeah, only when it like affects a film like this. Yeah.
Which, kind of. So she was in Mars Attacks. She's the chewing the gum.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's in Ed Wood.
Okay.
She also was in Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem, which I didn't realize, and in 2012 Silent Night.
Oh, wow.
Which I know we've come talked about the old.
Yeah, the older. Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of interesting. We have Christopher Lee as Burgomaster, is what he's credited as.
So satisfying.
He's Saruman, obviously. He's in Star Wars as well. He's in Gremlins 2, Wicker Man. And he works with Tim Burton again as Dr. Wonka in his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
He's also in Alice in Wonderland that he does with Tim Burton, and provides a voice for Corpse Bride and appears in Dark Shadows. So I love that this was kind of the start
of another collaboration.
Yeah,
that's
so it's very cute. We have Michael Gambon as Baltus Van Tassel.
Incredible.
He's obviously Dumbledore in Harry Potter. We have two Harry Potter people in this. I don't list the other guy. Sorry. But he's in there too. Dursley.
Dursley.
So he, I don't have much on them. I just kind of wanted to note something that like we talked about was the silhouettes of those men. And kind of it made me note how iconic all their hairstyles and silhouettes are, which is a very Disney thing, and it's kind of a what do you say, like a mantra of Disney, that it's Disney has this thing where it's like every character they ever make has to have a recognizable silhouette. And I wonder if Tim Burton took that from his days at Disney when creating those characters. That completely makes
sense, and it's also, silhouettes were such a popular art form at this time, and there's two over Katrina's bed, I think it is. There's like two facing each other, two little silhouette portraits.
I still regret the day, the last time we went to Disneyland, they have a tiny little studio. It only, like on Main Street in Disneyland, only the artist can really fit in there, and they do hand cut all day. You can just walk in and pay, like, it's like $10, and they cut silhouette portraits out of you.
Whoa,
And
that's
it's a lost art
wild.
because
That's
it's perfect.
so
I
cool.
don't know how they do it. And they just sit there, and it's just like minutes, and then they're just done. I'm like, how can you just see someone's face? I don't know.
Wow.
I think there's such a
That's
cool artistry
really
about
cool.
that. So like I said, stunts are a big thing in this. We have
Mhm.
our stunt coordinator, which is Nick Galar. I think that's how you say his name.
Mhm.
He did stunts for Robin Hood Men of Thieves.
Oh, I thought you were
Um,
gonna say Men in
I
Tights, and
thought I almost
love
did.
Men
I'm
in
so sorry.
Tights.
I was like Men of Thieves, Count of Monte Cristo,
Mhm.
2019's War of the Worlds, Identity, Star Wars Episode 1 and
Oh.
2, and The Mummy.
Oh my god, amazing.
Which
Another
I think is
bisexual
cool.
icon.
I know, truly. So budget for this film,
Mhm.
just for some context as we kind of get into budget and go right into
Yeah.
locations. The original intent had been to shoot, just so everyone knows, Sleepy
Mhm.
Hollow predominantly on location with a $30 million budget. But as we get into that, the scale grew. So I want you to guess what the final budget was.
Oh god.
So the intent was 30 million, which I think is
Well, that's already
wild.
big.
But yeah,
That's already
it's
big.
yeah,
Especially knowing
goes up
Beetlejuice was 15.
there. Yeah.
I wonder if this is the same budget as mine.
Ooh.
50? Higher?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Uh-huh.
70? Oh my
70. Isn't
god,
that
that's
crazy?
insane.
Wow, 50 for yours.
50 for Crimson Peak.
That's
Yeah.
great. We're gonna learn why mine was
We're gonna learn why
lots.
mine was lots too. And I'm like, I'm almost, in a way, this almost looks like it was cheaper to me. Not in a bad way,
Really?
but
I
like,
feel it reversed a little
oh,
bit.
that's so
Which
funny.
we'll
We'll
dig
talk
in.
about why. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's because there was a lot of spoiler alert for mine. The entire manor,
Yeah.
Allerdale Hall, built from scratch on set and entirely functional.
wondering.
Entirely like the kitchen, you can turn
Whoa.
everything on. Yeah, so that's why
Wow.
that was $50 million. But
Well,
yeah,
you're gonna fully understand why mine is also the same.
Amazing. Yeah.
Because basically
take me
same.
in, baby.
So locations.
Mhm.
Like I said, like we talked about earlier,
Mhm.
it was a co-production between Germany and the United States.
Did this shoot in Germany?
Hold please. No, it didn't.
Okay.
Not Germany. Not direct. UK.
Okay.
So they had
Oh.
scouted. So they started their whole scout. They're like,
Mhm.
we're gonna shoot on location,
Mhm.
right?
In
That's
New
where we
York?
start. Yeah. So
Mhm.
he wanted to start in upstate New York. Tim Burton was living there at the time. He was like grossly obsessed with it. And he
Yeah.
was just, I think he like even talks back on like, I was just definitely making like, I would walk on sets and be like, this looks like upstate New York. And so he was very much, I think, coming from a place of love of New York at the time.
Mm.
So they looked along the Hudson Valley.
Mhm.
Historic Hudson Valley like organization actually helps scout locations with them, which is
Wow.
cool. Some other locations included the historic Phillipsburg Manor House and Forest in Rockefeller State Park Preserve. Oh my God, that was hard.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Those are two locations, so it gives you they're
Whoa, okay,
beautiful.
yeah.
So you'd be like,
Stunning.
oh, cool. Why
Mhm.
wouldn't they shoot there? So to which production designer Rick Heinrich said, quote, they had a wonderful quality to them, but it wasn't quite lending itself to the sort of expressionism that we were going for,
Mhm.
which we wanted to express the feeling of foreboding.
If you go to an actual historical place, it's gonna ground things
Yes.
instead of heighten
Yes,
them.
absolutely. So they were kind of scouting. They were looking at things. They also looked in Massachusetts, some Dutch colonial villages, and
that makes
kind of
sense.
along the northeastern United States. When they said kind of none of these existing locations looked like what they wanted, paired with kind of the lack of readily available studio space in New York,
Mhm.
they were like, okay, we need to kind of do something else and probably not look at historic locations, and we might have to
Mm.
move this a little bit more into studios.
Hmm.
So producer Scott Rudin actually suggested moving the production over to the UK, which I
Mm.
think was a genius move on his part.
Yeah.
So Scott Rudin felt that the UK provided the craftsmanship, in the period detail and the landscape that would perfectly suit the film's aesthetic. And since Tim Burton had already directed Batman entirely in Britain, which I didn't know,
I didn't
he was like
realize that.
totally on board. Yeah, I thought that
Fascinating.
was really cool.
Kind of makes sense, but
Yeah, he was like, sure. And because of that, he brought basically the entire set department from Batman. They
Oh,
were like,
cool.
yeah, because I think he probably hired a lot of local people. So he
Makes
was like,
sense.
come on back. So Paramount hired them all as well. And so because of this big change, filming was pushed back to November 20th, 1998. And they were able to finally find some locations, but not how they intended. They ended up landing on Colden Fall Estate in Hamblin, England, for a month-long shoot from starting in March, where we see the town of Sleepy Hollow, which was fully constructed.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say
So they
that.
found the
It
landscape,
seemed like it was. Yeah.
but they didn't find the town.
Wow.
So producer Adam Schroeder said, quote, "We came to England figuring we would find the perfect little town, and then we had to build it anyways," which I love.
Look at that. Which I feel like they actually, I'm sure they loved that on some level.
They got to have complete control of what it looked like. Your vision got to come fully to life instead of making that fit.
Yeah.
And too, with like historic towns, it's not like you have a lot of leeway to even alter slightly.
No, absolutely not.
So they really would have been pinned to an aesthetic that would feel much more the witch. I have a feeling.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. So Rick Heinrichs went to work building the town of Sleepy Hollow, which was constructed around that little small duck pond. So the little pond exists in Lime Tree.
Oh, cute.
And so they filmed there for an entire month. Over a period of 4 months, they built a total of 12 structures, with several of them having detailed interiors they could shoot in.
That's so cool.
I want to live there.
I want to go to there.
Is someone Airbnb-ing those out? Because my God. So it took, to build the town, it took them a total, I have like 3 to 4 months. So 3 to 4 months. And it was an estimated cost of $1.3 million, which I feel like is nothing.
Yeah, that's shockingly cheap.
I wonder,
an entire partly functional town.
Yeah, especially interiors.
Yeah.
And fun fact, the sheep and the farm animals you see in the film hung out there the whole time. They lived on the property. So they brought them in, and then the entire construction and then shoot, they were just vibing.
That.
So the little sheep are just like, this is my home now. And so while they had always planned to build a large number of sets, the decision was made early on to get the full vision of what Tim Burton wanted. They would also have to have controlled environments. So that's where we get the studio. They clearly were not having luck. Thankfully, they were over in the UK, and one of the studios was Leavesden Film Studios, which, if it sounds familiar, they not only recently had Star Wars Phantom Menace shooting on it, so Darth Maul was there for
There
that,
you
so
go.
he barely had to, I don't even know if he went home.
That's so funny.
It's also one of the largest stages in the world, which I think is really cool.
Interesting.
It housed Harry Potter films, The Dark Knight, The Conjuring, and worked with Tim Burton again on Sweeney Todd and Beetlejuice. So
Cool.
it kind of became a second home for him. And a majority of this film took place there, with some filming taking place at Shepperton Studios, which, if that sounds familiar, you covered it on Alien. It's where the Who.
What it is.
And I was like, no way.
That's so cool.
I had to like look. I had to look because I was like,
That's ringing a bell.
Yeah, I looked up the studio and I was just like, oh my God. And then they talk about the music videos being shot there.
That's
I was like, no
so
way.
cool.
So that's why we've talked about it before. So listen to that episode if you want to hear more about that, because it's very cool. So the studio house sets like I believe this is the Leavesden Studios house, the Tree of the Dead, the Forest to Field set where we see the Headless Horseman kind of race out of the woods into the field. The studio was also transformed into a graveyard, cornfield, like harvest wheat fields, churchyard, snowy battlefield, like all of it was housed in there, which is crazy to think of how many, I don't know. It's just wild to me to think that this is, other than the town, this is solely on a set, which is
put a pin in that for mine.
Oh my God, I love it. So in addition, they had a small backlot area where they did the New York City street and the waterfront
that
tank.
makes sense, yeah.
Other productions in that studio too I thought were cool is Clockwork Orange, The Omen, and Elephant Man. So very cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
And just to note, the Leavesden studio was a converted airplane factory, which had relatively low ceilings, which I'm going to say put a pin in that. I do have a quote from the production designer, though, about that, saying, quote, "Our visual choices get channeled and violent, so you end up with liabilities that you tend to exploit as virtues. And when you've got a certain ceiling height and you're dealing with painted backings, you need to push the atmosphere and diffusion." So put a pin in that. We'll kind of talk a little bit more about what that looks like for them.
Oh, cool.
So filming in Britain continued through April, and the last few minute scenes were shot using sound stages back in New York that following May to do some pickups. So the production design was very influenced by Tim Burton's love of Hammer Film Productions, which we've talked about. Frankenstein, Mummy, Dracula. So we've talked about that before. Very much gothic horror in the mid-50s and 70s. And Tim Burton in particular loved the film from the 1960s, Black Sunday, which I don't know if, I have to watch it. It looks from the stills looks
if I've
incredible.
seen it or not, but
I'm
I'm very
sh-
familiar like with it.
Okay, I'm going to show
Yeah.
you a picture that might
Awesome.
jog.
Cool.
So why was he drawn to these? Because the films had this supernatural feel to him that evoked a result of being filmed primarily in sound stages. So that's been the big thing. He said, quote, Hammer films did that quite a lot, trying to make exteriors look like a stage and the stage look like exteriors. And this very much image from Black Sunday reminds me of when she goes into that Iron Maiden. It almost looks like it's from
That's so cool.
Sleepy Hollow. So production designer Rick Heinrichs was influenced by American colonial architecture, German expressionism, Dr. Seuss illustrations, and then Hammer's Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, which starred Christopher Lee.
Oh my god!
Which I think is so cool that he got to work with him.
That's adorable.
Yeah. And so Tim Burton talks a bit about Hammer horror films, saying how he loves how lurid and gutsy they were, and that there's a certain emotional simplicity and joy to them that he loves. So I have a quote from him talking about this. He says, quote, the funny thing is when you look at Hammer films now, they're all over the place. It's like Disney movies. In your memory, they are more intense when you look at them. They have all great moments and the feeling of a certain kind of lurid beauty, that kind of gore and the color of blood. That's what I always felt about expressionist movement is it's inside somebody's head. It's an internal state externalized. I like all these different types of painters and paintings, but I like a lot of impressionists and expressionists. I guess if I look at certain artists like Van Gogh paintings, they're not real, but they capture an energy that makes it real. And that to me was exciting about movies. I just love I love that idea of taking what it looks like in your brain and like just trying to put that, because that's what we are as creators and artists. But to not try and make it look real, just to make it look like what it looks like in your head. I'm like,
so
that's so
satisfying.
fun. I'm gonna skip over that quote. That one's not fun. So take a pin finally out of the film being in black and white. So we have our DP Lubetsky, who specifically also cited Hammer horror films and Mexican luchador films from the 1960s. I don't know if you know this one, Santo contra los Zombies.
I haven't seen it, but I'm like, I've seen stills from it.
So that's one that he said. I looked up stills. They look incredible, and it's so fun. I love that he was able to bring that
That's
to
so
this.
cool.
I really want to look up some more like interviews with him. He just seems really interesting. So not only did they want this like old Hollywood aspect ratio that we talked about, but Tim Burton and Lubetsky wanted Sleepy Hollow obviously to be in black and white. Of course, that proved to be difficult. I'm wondering if it was just a budgetary thing for them or just a practical thing. I'm not quite sure. But they opted to do something of the effect. They did a bleach bypass to desaturate the images. Yeah.
That's so cool.
They ended up doing that. So that's how they got that desaturation. Tim Burton said they also wanted to do this desaturation to help blend the locations with their set. So kind of like what we talked about to make it a little bit more seamless. He kind of talks about this saying, quote, I hope the film ultimately has its own believability. I felt pretty good about the quality of the photography. I feel we got a good dreamlike quality. I also felt good when I was in some of those sets. Even though this is a much more stylized film, it felt good. It felt like it was haunted, and it like when I go into upstate New York. So again, his love of upstate New York. You're obviously dealing with sets, but you have to do something stylized that doesn't look too phony. If it starts to look phony, then it doesn't have the impact to the audience. So I love that. I mean, to be fair, like, you know, their sets looking at them.
Yeah.
But also your brain is like trying to figure out, I think, in the moment of like how many trees and how far back it goes and the depth.
It reads to me so much like a storybook. Like
that's such a great way to put
pictures in a storybook, which is also something I was thinking about with both our films. They both like open with the written word, in yours with the letter being stamped, and mine with the book opening, which then at the end credits you see that it's Edith's book, that she's the one who wrote it. I think it very much has that quality if you're looking at like watercolor pictures in a storybook.
Oh my gosh, that's such a great way to, that's exactly how it feels. Oh, I love that. Okay. We're gonna get into the taking the pins out of like the low ceilings and things as well. So Tim Burton and Lubetsky also intentionally planned their what they called over dependency of smoke and soft lighting to complement the film's wide angle look. They said they knew also when they were filming, they were going to boost the contrast in post-production to kind of add that monochromatic feel that we see in these black and white film examples that
Yeah,
we
it gives
just
it much
mentioned.
more of like a silver nitrate quality when you
Yeah,
have that really
yes,
intense difference between lights and
The
darks.
shadows are like
really deep,
harsh.
which
So
we love.
they planned for that, so that's why they were kind of able to manipulate everything to exactly what they wanted. Tim Burton talks about how he felt very in sync with Lubetsky. And working with him was the most fun he's had working with somebody in a long time. And he felt like Lubetsky was basically a character in this film as well. So
I love
lots of
that.
nods to our cinematographer for that. So I love that they were kind of on the same page the whole time. So low ceilings, pin out.
Yes.
It's a very quick section, but production designer Rick also talks about the smoke and the low ceilings. So not only was it a stylistic choice that they wanted for the film, he talks about it, quote, saying, "We would mitigate the disadvantages of the ceilings by hiding lights in the smoke." So kind of worked out for him
makes sense.
because they didn't have many places. So I feel like it's kind of fun that you can, to your point of like this storybook and this painting, you can just kind of spot where all the lights might be hidden in that smoke when you watch it back.
Well, and I imagine it also, if you have a whole lot of quote unquote exteriors that are being shot interior on a soundstage that's got low ceilings with lots of smoke, it means that the fog is going to hang pretty low. And that's also going to create this sort of eerie, not quite real world feeling.
To walk through those sets would just be like, pay me. Give me money. Let me build those again. And I'll just rent it out. So we're getting into our special effects.
Amazing.
So I feel kind of bad. Tim Burton apparently chose to use a limited amount of digital effects as possible because of the reactions he got from the computer-generated effects in Mars Attacks.
Aww.
Which, shame on everybody. They're so fun.
Yeah, I feel like that's like, there's so much Burton to shame for his use of CG, and that is not
not it.
That's not it.
Not it. So I have a quote from him talking about this, saying he wanted to get back to making a movie where you're building sets and dealing with the actors and doing things that are less manufactured, less computerized, just making an old-fashioned movie that way. It's the hardest time, but my favorite time being on set, which is where you're making stuff. You see him even in the behind the scenes. He's walking around with a little like paintbrush, like
of
painting
course
the
he
stone.
is.
You know,
oh my God.
he's a true like hands-on artist. So he says there's such a good atmosphere. It's nice if you can create as much of it there and then and add as little as possible because it makes it more of an immediate experience. So for some of the practical things, I was actually able to find a few things.
Cool.
For the decapitated heads, they're obviously silicone casts of the actors with the hand punched hair and all of them and hand painted.
Oh my God, that's so time intensive.
And so many heads.
Oh my, yeah, so many heads.
Beautiful up close. So there's like a 30-minute making of where you get to see some of them.
That's so cool. I also have to say the cauterized necks.
I know, right?
Disgustingly
good.
good.
I know, they're so creepy.
And they like, I'm sorry to get so graphic, but they really look cooked.
Yeah.
Like,
they look
like semi-cooked.
Yeah.
Like it's
like little steaks.
Oh.
We're just walking steaks, really.
So
uncooked
true.
steaks.
Electrified meat.
And then obviously we have like with those heads, we have them spinning, which was a Tim Burton thing.
Of course.
He thought it would be so funny. And like, again, his just like humor. He was like, we have to have these heads spin if we cut them off. So for the heads spinning, they had kind of two different versions of these. So for close-ups, they had just the shoulders and a mechanical device that would spin the head that would fly off. And then for the wides, they had a full body that they would use with electromagnets that when like, I don't know, they press a button, it would collapse the knees and collapse the body like a normal human body that would get decapitated would look like. I don't know. But it's cool watching,
That's
like seeing this framework of
amazing.
the bodies and watching it back, knowing that because it's almost unnoticeable. Like I know it's not a real, but I just thought maybe they CG'd the head off and a person fell.
That's incredible because
Yeah,
it really, I buy the movement.
Yeah.
And that's, especially for a film
Knees
about
buckling.
Sleepy Hollow, you really need to get the motion of the head chop
Yeah,
right.
truly.
Like,
It's the
that's
most
very
important part.
essential. Yeah.
Most important part. So I thought that was so cool.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And then, so you can see videos of that too. It's
Delightful.
very cool. And for the mechanical horse, this one was a personal delight for me. So Christopher Walken kind of talks about, he's like, I grew up in New York. I didn't ride horses. He goes, goes, horses don't like me. I don't like them, which I feel like is a red flag. Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, agreed.
I feel like if horses don't like you, you have a problem.
If animals in general don't like you,
it gives me So I don't know. I was like, Christopher Walken, don't say that.
Yeah.
Because you seem nice.
I micked out. Yeah.
So for the mechanical horses, and because he couldn't ride well, they had to bring in for more difficult scenes a mechanical horse. So specifically, the skeleton of the mechanical horse, they used one from 1994 from a film starring Elizabeth Taylor and Mickey Rooney called National Velvet, which is one of my favorite movies of all time because I'm a horse girl.
God.
And it's the same one. They just updated it and they go, you can't improve on something that was already
a
great.
mechanical horse is a mechanical horse, I guess.
So it's kind of cool because it looks kind of rusted, to be fair, in areas.
Fascinating.
So they just yoinked that. Obviously, they put their own skin on it and updated like some parts of it. But I was just like, no way did they just like, that was just sitting somewhere.
That's incredible.
History. So there's history on screen.
We got to do like a side-by-side of the two horses.
Oh, God, I love that movie. So I just bought it on DVD not that long ago. So I want to watch it now. Knowing that it's
oh my God, what's the horse?
Yeah, what's his name? Daredevil? No.
Oh God.
Demon.
The
Daredevil. Okay, thank you. Great. So practical effects aside, obviously we do have some CG, but minimally. So there's only, which I think is crazy, 150 visual effects shots in this film.
That's a lot less than I'd expect.
Right?
That's
he
a
really,
lot less.
and I'm going to probably give you the exact pinpoints of where I think most of them, if not all of them, live. So they were mostly done by ILM, which we've talked about many times. We have a friend of the pod that works currently.
Yeah.
And obviously we have Kevin Yeager supervising the human and the creature effects.
I think Todd might have worked on this. I'm not sure, but that's actually possible.
Shout out, Todd.
Shout out, Todd. We love you.
I didn't look actually too deep on that. So along with ILM, we have Frame Store. They also did some of the effects. They worked on Chicken Run, Iron Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Martian, The Boys, The Witcher, and so many more projects, which is funny because I feel like ILM I've heard of a lot.
Haven't heard of them.
Heard of Frame Store.
That's so weird. Even though they've done really big things
that I think are known for their good effects.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, we have The Mill, which is a smaller.
I have heard of The Mill.
Oh my God, they're super
Canada,
small,
right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I believe
they mostly did the motion control photography. I'm not sure if they are, but
interesting.
So obviously they were the ones in charge of compositing the different shots together to make one. Yeah. So that's what they worked on. One such place. Okay, so we're gonna get into the visual effects where I think they all live. So one such place they used for the effects were the fires, the demonic faces that kind of fly out, which are almost unnoticeable.
Wow,
I didn't notice them.
Yeah, I so thought that. Wait, so are the fires digital?
Some of them, yeah.
That's really good firework for
with
1999.
Faces
God
in
damn.
them. Faces in them. So they took the Headless Horseman's face and warped it. And like in some of the scenes, there's 13 different demonic faces in one fire.
I genuinely did.
Me either. And I've seen this movie
That's so cool. Okay, yeah, I've got to go back and look for that.
Amazing. So again,
wow.
They really, where they used it, they tried to have you not notice. Yeah. So love that. Again, I thought some of the heads were practical.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So
I'm gagged by the flames.
Me too. Listen,
fires I had to watch today.
I had to watch it back. Even the Harry Potter. Well, I guess those are kind of older too. But like, yeah, I was gonna say the Harry Potter fires, but those were the same time.
Yeah, but roughly. Like fires hard,
yes,
y'all.
Yeah. So the fact that we didn't notice, love that you didn't either. I felt stupid for a second.
I like genuinely turned to Dana and I was like, oh yeah, this is at the time when like fires were still real fires.
Yeah. Some of them were.
Apparently not.
Yeah. Clocked.
Wow.
So another was obviously the removal of the horseman's head. Okay. They said they could have done the body where it's stacked on top, but they didn't want it to look goofy. So they're like, we got to find a way to do this.
They did that in Beetlejuice. Like, this is not Beetlejuice.
Yeah. It's so funny watching them talk about like, they put a blue cap on Christopher Walken's head or the stunt double's head. But the way they talk about like blue screen and this technology feels so new and it's so cute. So they were like, we did this really cool thing where so he was keyed out. They obviously shot frames to kind of fill that in. But they had to, because obviously if you put this blue hood on, that collar that he has,
It's gonna reflect on it.
you're not going to see, like, it's going to
Yeah.
be cut out in some. So the horseman's collar, when he doesn't have a head,
Uh-huh.
is completely
CG?
CG, and so they had to
Oh,
match
that's so
all of his
smart. That's so
movements.
smart. Put a
Yeah.
pin in that because there's a
Ooh.
similar kind of CG
Ooh,
effect in
interesting.
Crimson Peak, actually. Yeah.
Ooh. So yeah, that's
That's
one.
really cool.
And then obviously the horseman coming out of the tree.
I was wondering how they did that.
Yeah, so
'Cause
they
the
did.
movement feels really good.
They shot the horse and a horseman like jumping on a blue screen.
Okay.
And it looks like they tried to match it up. I was trying to figure out. It was a very brief moment in the behind the scenes,
Mhm.
but it sounds like in certain elements too, I think they matched those up, but it sounds like at one point the horse and the horseman coming out of that were 100% CG too, which I think is
Wow.
insane.
That's
But they
really
did do blue
impressive.
screen jumping as
Mhm.
well. So I
Mhm.
don't know how they matched those two things
Mhm.
up. They didn't get into that, unfortunately.
A lot of the time, from what I gather from Todd and from other VFX artists, a lot of the time when you hear stories like that, what happens is they tried the real thing and it didn't work.
That's what I'm thinking too.
And
I think what we see is a fully digital.
I think that's probably quite
which
likely. Which like
the
it's still
opening of
useful
it-
that you have the real horse
for
movement.
reference.
Yeah, to reference.
Yeah,
It's still
'cause
useful. But
getting horses right digitally in movies,
oh,
people
that's
do not
so
do
hard.
it right.
Yeah.
It
It's a
bothers
very,
me.
very unique kind of movement.
Yeah. So those are kind of the instances I have of those. We obviously have Tim Burton and Rick Heinrichs. Like I said, they worked
Mhm.
together on Tim Burton's first project. So Vincent, they did a lot of stop animation
Cute.
together, and a lot of forced perspective sets. So, for example, the windmill, which is like the most Tim
Mhm.
Burton looking set
Amazing.
piece ever, with like the
Gorgeous.
bat wing sails that we have.
Yeah.
So they built a 60-foot tall exterior. So there was a bunch of
Mhm.
different versions of this windmill. It obviously could not fit on a soundstage. It was reportedly you could see it from the highway miles away.
Wow.
So they shot some things there. They also then on a soundstage had a base and a rooftop set.
Mhm.
And then a quarter scale miniature as well.
Cool.
The interior of the mill, which was about 30 feet high and 25 feet wide, had working wooden gears and mechanisms for grinding flour in there, which I think is really cool how real they made
Mhm.
everything.
That must have been great for the sounds
Oh my
too.
God, right.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being like, I can't act. But boy, I feel like surrounded by that much make believe that like what's tangible. I'm like, I could do
Absolutely.
this. Maybe
Yeah.
I can pretend. The wider view we have of the windmill was a duplicate on a soundstage with a quarter scale windmill,
Mm.
which was also operated. They had the painted sky backdrop,
Mhm.
and then special effects fire. And then Rick Heinrichs recalled that set saying, quote, "It was scary for the actors who were having the burning wood exploding at them. There were controls in place and people standing by with hoses, of course, but there was always a chance of something going wrong."
Yeah.
To that, there is footage of that.
Oh my God.
They basically stuck. It looked like, you know, like when you have like a little backyard bonfire, like
Yeah.
the little coned kind
Yeah.
of metal thing. They shoved a bunch of logs in there, and I'm talking like 4 foot in diameter. Shoved logs
Oh
in
my
there, doused it with
Oh my
like
God.
assuming gasoline. I don't know.
Yeah. Some kind of accelerant.
Put it on a crane above the camera,
Oh
lit it on fire, and
Jesus.
fucking cannon shot it out.
Holy fuck.
It looked terrifying.
Yeah, no wonder the actors were freaked
Christina
out.
Ricci's like, it was a little scary. And I'm like, bless your heart. It probably was terrifying for you. Because she's like, what, 20?
Yeah.
I have
Also,
no idea.
like, you know, as somebody with very long hair, it's scary to be around fires.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because have you seen somebody's hair catch fire?
I mean,
I
kind of.
one time I was at a birthday party for a girl
was
who
gonna say,
had
I've seen,
long
like-
hair, and I saw she like bent over the
With
candle,
candles.
hair went up.
It goes
and
fast.
It's so fucking
I'm like,
fast.
I was like, not a full head, but like,
Yeah.
birthday, all
Yeah.
those videos of people
Oh.
blowing out candles. Yeah,
Yeah.
it freaks me out. I don't know.
Ugh.
I would have no hair. My hair would
Yeah.
be this length because I would have burned it off if I
Yeah,
had hair your
there you go.
length. So that was that set. So
God.
moving on to torture history lessons.
Amazing. Al's favorite corner.
I actually have my medieval torture book
Of
with
course
me.
you do.
I wanted to reference it a little bit, so I have one thing from that.
Still have my little book of beheadings that you gave
Oh my
me.
God, yeah.
I
That book was
love
so
it.
cute.
It's so good.
So just briefly wanted to mention the Iron Maiden that we see in here, which is like so terrifying. It's like the
It's
Choky.
a good Iron Maiden.
It's so cool. So sadly, we all I don't know if we all know, but the Iron Maiden is considered to be a 18th century myth since there's really no evidence that's ever been found of Iron Maiden
I forgot about that.
ever
I
being
like
used.
block that out of my head every time I encounter
I know,
it.
because it's kind of
It's
it's not sad, but it's sad.
But it's kind of sad.
But you'll notice that in one of the scenes behind Ichabod in the courtroom, I think it's the same one you were talking about, his reaction. There's a man in an iron gibbet, which was a real torture technique, or what's known as hanging in chains. That's the chapter that I have. So the practice of gibbeting is where the body was placed in a gibbet after execution, and they were suspended in chains publicly. So I'm going to show you a little picture. So it's kind of like an Iron Maiden. I would say it's almost like the skeleton.
Yeah.
That guy's obviously alive in it, but I'm wondering if he was going to be executed later. So that's what that was foreshadowing. And just to know of how cruel people were to women. I don't want to say it's like one of my favorite ones, but it's one of my favorite historical torture methods, which is called the Scold's Bridle or the Brank Mask. It's kind of where the word gossip comes from. If women, they were put in a gossip. I think I've brought this up before, which was an iron mask with a muzzle, with a metal gag held on the tongue, used to punish women. They also had different versions too that would have like a serrated blade that I think also men would sometimes get. So if you moved your tongue, you would basically lacerate it over and over and over. So just wanted to bring in those little fun facts for everybody in lieu of the Iron Maiden being not real.
Just to comfort us.
Just to comfort. But we're going to go into costumes really quickly. Very briefly. I tried to find so much stuff. For as being as iconic as she is, I'm like, where are her interviews living? Where I'm not seeing. The last time we talked about her name's Colleen Atwood. The last time we talked about her was Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay.
So she's a longtime collaborator. She's received 4 Academy Awards, 3 BAFTA Awards, 2 Emmy Awards in the span of her career. She's, like I said, a longtime collaborator and costume designer for Tim Burton. She worked on Edward Scissorhands, Mars Attacks, Ed Wood, Big Fish, Sweeney Todd, and others. Wow. She also worked on films like Silence of the Lambs, the 90s Little Women. That's for you. That Thing You Do, Chicago, and the new Wednesday TV series. So still working with Burton, which I love. And Sleepy Hollow was one of the Academy Awards she won for Best Costume Design.
Well earned.
And for good reason. So she not only did hand sewing to maintain historical accuracy for the film's 18th century setting, she also collaborated with textile artists to age this and screen the fabrics, such as the Headless Horseman's cape, even down to hand painting details with special techniques on the outfits.
Good ager dyers are like the saints of the film industry.
I mean, they look, I think there's a lot of critique going around of the costuming departments in period pieces or a lot of fantasy, with them not looking lived in.
Worn enough,
Because you can't, you're going to have this character that's like, okay, they've been in battle, white. You're telling me there's not a damn thing on that?
So you tell me it's clean?
Clean wardrobe. They're not lived in. So I love that. We need to go back to that and spend a little bit more time. She also worked with Johnny Depp specifically to build his character and talk with him, and I'm sure she knows him well and his little idiosyncrasies. So I'm also going to bring up, I don't know if you noted, as we're rounding the corner, so we're getting to the end. So
no, this is so much fun.
I know this one was so good. Again, I had to like stop my notes at some point, but I'm sure you noticed, and I forgot, the executive producer we see in the credits at the end of this, Francis Ford Coppola. Wild. So apparently Tim Burton only became aware of his involvement during the editing process when he was sent a copy of the film's trailer with Coppola's name on it.
That's insane.
He literally went, what the fuck? And turned to his editor and said, play that back again. Like, I don't know if what I was seeing was real. And then he kind of makes a joke with the editor, saying Coppola probably made a phone call back in the 1970s to put his name on the film. Wow. Because it often, he says, happens that way. I remember on Batman, I never even met the executive producers. You spend a year or two working on something, and then there's main credits, and they come up, and you go, who the fuck is that guy?
You? Yeah. so true.
He didn't know either. He was gagged as well. Funny. Good for Francis.
See, I was just assuming it had something to do with like some Dracula crossover. That's just wild.
Liked it? Question mark. Wow. Marketing for this film was able to find some stuff. Amazing. So first off, to promote Sleepy Hollow, Paramount Pictures dropped the film's first official trailer at San Diego Comic-Con in August of 1999.
Very similar to Crimson Peak, also a Comic-Con
nice.
promotion.
Yeah. Yeah, I always find it's interesting, like, what films
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't feel in line with
Comic-Con?
Yeah. So the following October, Paramount launched a website. Again, it's 1999, so it wasn't really a thing.
Amazing.
Which
this was like around when American Psycho was doing like viral website
I think it was like
marketing.
a slow coming up thing. So Variety magazine described it as being the most ambitious online launch of a motion picture to date at that time.
Fascinating.
So what did the website have? I have some information. I don't know if you can still like find like actual versions of it. There were live video chats with several of the filmmakers hosted by Yahoo Movies that allowed them to view photos from the set and behind the scenes footage, which I think is so cool. And then in the weeks before the movie's release, there was apparently a toy line marketed by McFarlane Toys.
Whoa.
They also did toys for The Simpsons, and then have horror icons like Terminator, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers and stuff as well. And The Thing, which I'm like, ooh, I want to see that.
Amazing.
Are they amazing? Okay, Travis like gagged over them. Also, Simon & Schuster published The Art of Sleepy Hollow, which included the film's screenplay, which you can find online, which I want to read, and an introduction by Tim Burton, of course, as well as a novelization written by author Peter Larangis.
Interesting.
Which I didn't know him from anything. But so they went hard.
That's
with the
so
marketing
cool.
of this in a very interesting way too, from books to online interviews, to toys to interviews. So very cool. It premiered at the Chinese Theater November 17th, 1999.
Amazing.
Officially in theaters on November 19th. And okay, getting into box office. Do you want to take? So I have opening weekend. Do you want me to give you opening weekend sales?
Yeah,
or
do
you
you
want
opening weekend?
30 million. Remember, budget of 70.
Holy moly.
Yeah, 30 million. And it's, I mean, they did a lot of advertising.
Oh my god. I feel like this had to make at least 150 total. Did it hit 200 mil, I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 206 worldwide. So
god damn.
101 domestically and 105 overseas, which I find it really interesting.
That's fascinating.
Wondering with the German partnership that they had, they probably had a huge overseas release of this one.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would do well.
I could see it doing well overseas.
So, I mean, it did,
yeah,
I guess.
Look at that.
So,
interesting.
Sleepy Hollow also, obviously there was really good feedback. Sleepy Hollow won the Academy Awards for not only best costumes, like I said, in 2000, but also for art direction and cinematography. So shout out to Lubetsky. As well as BAFTA Awards for costumes, production design, and visual effects, among other awards in various categories. So it really kind of swept a lot of awards. It has a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, a 71% critic score, which I think is
interesting,
an abomination.
That's fascinating.
An 80% audience score. Roger Ebert gave it a 3.5 out of 4 stars, starting his review by saying, quote, "This is the best looking horror film since Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula."
Yes!
And then ends it by saying, "The most astonishing thing for me about the movie wasn't the horsemen anyways, but the fact that I actually found myself drawn to this old classic illustrated material, enthralled by the time and place, so well evoked that the horsemen almost seemed natural there."
Interesting.
Which
yeah,
is
going
really
back to
wordy
that
with it,
storybook quality.
Yeah. And then I just liked this review. It's critic Richard Corliss from Time Magazine.
Oh, yeah, I like Richard Corliss' writing.
Have we brought him up here before?
I feel like I might have quoted him.
There's a lot of Richards
just,
I feel like we've talked about.
Like, he's a critic I enjoy reading
Oh,
sometimes.
yay. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad it's a good one we brought in. He said, quote, "This is Burton's richest, prettiest, weirdest film since Batman Returns. The simple story bends to his twists, freeing him from an exercise in high style," which I just love.
Fascinating. Because it's still such high style, but
again, like we said at the beginning, it's like polished in a way that I don't think he's been before and since. And I don't say that as a critique. I just say it as like,
it's just true.
I would love to see him do something else like this at some point.
Yeah.
And then 3.5, I'm starting to bring in Letterboxd reviews. So 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. One of them says, "Christopher Walken has literally 3 lines in this film. Nah, wah, and we can't forget rah," which I love. And then I feel like this is very much me and you coded. This person says, I relate to Johnny Depp's character because I too am a dramatic little bitch.
Yes.
So that is 1999's Sleepy Hollow. And sorry, my throat started to get dry. I just felt like I had so much to get through. But I was like, shit.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that we paired these two together.
I mean,
just hearing about it, I'm like, there's
perfect.
so much in common with how they were made in
Yeah.
particular that I'm excited to get into.
I'm super excited. But yeah, did you
I
like?
enjoyed it. Yeah. I feel like this is verging on the period of Burton where I start to fall off the Burton wagon. But I think it's still there for me.
Yeah.
Like again, because I love Sweeney Todd and it feels so in line with what he's doing in Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Like it feels like there's still like a genuine grounding and like love of the gothic and the material behind this that I think when I fall off is when it feels like he starts losing that a little bit.
It's a very clear fall off for me.
Yeah.
But this one, I would say this is like the Tim Burton film that I'm like, I want to live in this.
Oh, I love that.
Also out of like all of, I don't know, out of a lot of films, this aesthetically, the kind of surrealness of it, I'm just like, I want to go to there.
It feels like a very complete world that's it's easy to imagine stepping into it and it continuing beyond the edges of the frame. And that's really, I think, a testament to the art direction, the costumes, the cinematography, all of those.
Everything was real.
Yeah.
So
love.
I love it so much.
Shall we take a quick break?
Oh my God, let's please. I gotta drink some water. And
once again, I feel like our neighbor has turned up the heat on us.
I know, I think so.
Unbelievably hot.
That's why I wore my lighter jacket.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to like return back into the head tree and burst back out on the other side.
I'm about to lose my head. So yeah.
Aren't we all? We'll be right back. And we're back. Ready to go to Allerdale Hall?
Yes, I got my goblet ready with my coffee in it.
I'm so obsessed with this goblet. For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, Al has a stone chalice that they're drinking their coffee out of.
Yeah. It's very heavy with the liquid in it now.
It felt like 5 pounds. It's incredible.
It's a weapon.
Could do like arm exercises
actually, probably.
with it. Yeah. Just burn off the calories as you drink it. Yeah.
I'm totally ready. I'm locked in.
I'm so delighted that we get to talk about this. I know I've been like, it's not like I had to convince you to cover Crimson Peak, but like I've been pushing for this for so long.
Finding like the quote unquote timing, which sounds so lame, I know, but like it is hard.
It has to be the right time of year. Like,
and it was so perfect.
It really was. We needed this. Yeah, this was a gift to ourselves.
Honestly, it really was a gift.
Yeah, like. Sank in like a warm gothic bath, like the baths that get taken in this movie.
Creaky bath,
creaky baths, a warm, creaky gothic bath full of red water from the clay mines. So this film has 2 taglines. The first is "Love makes monsters of us all," the Jessica Chastain line. We love. Very kind of. Could be the tagline for GDT's entire career, arguably. Love makes monsters of us all.
Oh my God, truly.
That's very much kind of the heart of every movie he ever makes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry,
and
just blew my mind.
The other one is just "Beware," usually written above the titles, so that it's "Beware Crimson Peak," since that's what the mom says. Which it's genius. It's clever, and at the same time, I'm like, but it only works if you've already seen the film.
Sure.
If you know,
by the end of the film, you go,
true.
So,
but like the marketing doesn't work when you're just seeing it as marketing, and I'm like, does that work?
Yeah,
I'm very conflicted about that one because it's clever, but it's like for the true fans almost, you know. Yeah. So directed, co-written, and produced by Guillermo del Toro. This is our second GDT after The Devil's Backbone. But there's so many more I want to cover. I know Sarah just sent us a link that Pan's Labyrinth is getting a re-release in theaters next year.
And that's horror?
I think it's horror.
Yeah. Whatever. We say it's horror, it's horror.
It has one of the scariest monsters in all of film history, I would say.
The eyeball guy?
Yes. Yeah.
I think he's a cutie patootie.
Oh, when it comes up in context, oh my
not a cutie
God,
patootie.
It's terrifying.
In context, got it.
Yeah, so I definitely want to cover
Good
Pan's
to know
Labyrinth.
going in.
Also really want to cover Kronos, which is his debut from 1992. It's like a very underrated vampire movie.
1992 was his debut.
Yeah, and he's just seeing photos of young GDT at the premiere of Kronos to now at the premiere of Frankenstein. It's just adorable. He like has not changed in so many ways.
He's just been, it's been great to see him in the media lately too, speaking out
Yeah.
on issues as well.
Yeah, and I love him being like, I'd rather die than use AI.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
But as I was getting ready for this one, I had a conversation with a friend of the pod, Devin, about GDT's work after Devin saw Frankenstein and was talking about GDT's English films versus Spanish language films. And I was like, how many English language films had Guillermo done by the time that we get to this one in 2015? And so I went through, did the research. His actually first English film was his second feature, which I'd forgotten existed because it's from 1997, made with the Weinsteins, called Mimic. And this is the film that GDT disowned because the Weinsteins took the editing control away from him. He's since done like a GDT release.
Okay.
That I want to go and watch like his director's cut. But he's like completely disowned it. It sounds like really screwed him over.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I'd completely forgotten that that was his second film.
Mimic. Damn, I haven't seen it. But
I'm really curious about it. It looks intriguing. But yeah, anyway, so he did Spanish language, English, and then back to Spanish. Other English language screenplays he'd worked on before Crimson Peak, though, include Hellboy from 2004, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army in 2007, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark in 2010, which he did not direct but was presented by him.
Oh, cool.
Pacific Rim in 2013, and he's a co-writer on all three Hobbits. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, he did Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smog, and Battle of the Five Armies.
I just watched those finally last year.
Oh, wow. I have not seen.
And I've watched them, I think, each 5 times since.
Oh my God, amazing. So Al's a fan.
And it's Hobbit season, because that's
is
November
Hobbit
for me.
Season. Yeah.
So,
Second
oh my God, I
season.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So
or maybe I saw the
Del
credit
Toro.
and then just didn't register, but that's so cool.
Yeah, it doesn't immediately strike me as like a Del Toro type project, but also he's a master of fantasy.
Yeah.
It makes sense that
we
he
got a
enjoy
hand
it.
phrase. What?
He was supposed to direct them.
He was supposed to direct the Hobbit movie.
And then had to hand them off and put a pin in that. Put a pin in the fact that he was supposed to direct them.
Trevor
so
couldn't hold it in.
Yeah, no,
Nerd.
I'm glad you shouted that out. So to be fair, I have not seen any of those intervening English language movies, but like before this one.
Yeah.
But this feels to me on like a genre, style, and content level like the first of his English language projects to really be about all the same stuff as his Spanish work. There's the gothic romance, the tragedy, the dark fairy tale imagery, the kind of like fascination with lived-in details of the past. And GDT himself, in an on-set interview, cites a series of his Spanish language films, specifically Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth, as examples of a shared idea also found here, which he describes as, quote, that the real horror comes from the human heart.
Yeah, I was gonna say it reminds me so much thematically of Devil's Backbone.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just like it bullet point on paper.
100%.
Same movie.
Especially the location of the climax scene. The clay pits underground versus like the tanks in Devil's Backbone. That set looks so similar. And not in a negative way at all. There's just like a very
you could
feels
overlay
like an
them
intentional callback. There's also, I think I'm trying to remember oh my gosh, what's his name? The hot dude in Devil's Backbone?
Yes. Yep. No, exactly.
That character
can't give you a name.
Also gets kind of stabbed in the armpit the same way that like the injuries in this film.
Oh my God.
Very, very similar to the
you could
injuries
take like
in
translucent
Devil's Backbone.
paper of these films.
Yeah, it's like a
and kind of-
palimpsest.
Yes, thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So love that you're on board for that.
Yeah.
Co-written by Matthew Robbins, who's a Steven Spielberg collaborator. One of his first credits was the screenplay for the Sugarland Express, which is like not one of Spielberg's better known movies.
Yeah.
He then goes on to write Dragon Slayer.
I still
Kind
have
of
to
makes
watch
sense.
that. Yeah.
Battery's not included.
That's like, oh God, I love that.
He collaborates with him on Mimic. So if there's one good thing that came for Del Toro out of that project, it was finding a good English language collaborator.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
And they also go on to work together on Don't Be Afraid of the Dark and Pinocchio. They reinvigorate the collaboration for that one.
Was that there was the recent one, right?
Yes,
there were like
the recent
3 Pinocchios that came out in like the last 3 years.
Yeah,
So,
the Guillermo del
good one.
Toro Pinocchio that came out.
still wanna see
I
it.
really want to see it. I've heard it's incredible. I've heard it's super anti-fascist, which love that.
Nice. Very cool.
Stars Mia Wasikowska as Edith Cushing.
Mhm.
I was completely unaware or had blocked out of my head that she's Australian.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah,
that
'cause
weird?
she's Alice in Tim Burton's
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland, so that's where we
Yeah.
get the crossover.
And
Whoa, I've never heard
thought she
her.
was British.
I
was
thought so,
convinced
too.
she was British.
It does make sense, yeah.
And it is so funny hearing the behind the scenes interviews and like the thick Australian accent comes out.
I'm gagged sometimes by actors' accents. Yeah.
I think she did quite a good job with the American accent. I only heard the Aussie come in on 2 lines, I think. But
Yeah.
it's she's very much like a gothic romantic horror bitch. She was in obviously Only Lovers Left Alive,
Right.
Stoker, which is, I want to say, is that Park Chan-wook or Bong Joon-ho? I'm embarrassed that I can't remember which of the two it is, but English language vampire movie.
Ooh.
Incredible.
Ooh.
Alice in Wonderland, The Double, Jane Eyre. Gal clearly knows how to carve out a niche, whether that's intentional
she's got
or
such
not.
like a look and a vibe to her
Yeah.
that like she can only live in certain universes.
Very much. She's also, I think, pretty short, and I think she's often like kind of dwarfed by the sets and environments she's around and costumes and ways that
her
are really
hand
interesting.
when she puts it in Tom Hiddleston's, it's so small.
Put a pin in that.
Oh my god,
scene.
you always have a hand fact.
I always have a hand fact, baby. Put a pin in the hand.
Oh my god.
Crucifixion time. So sorry. So we've got Jessica Chastain back just a few years post Take Shelter as Lucille Sharp. She's of course also in It Chapter 2. She plays 2 Tammys in short succession with both Eyes of Tammy Faye and George and Tammy. Very confusing.
So funny.
Anyway, I feel like because we talked about her career so recently, I'm not going to go into a ton
Yeah.
of depth about other projects that Jessica Chastain has done.
Yeah. Take
If you
Shelter.
wanna
if
hear
you wanna
about that,
listen
go
her.
to the Take Shelter episode. It's like 2 from this one.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston as Thomas Sharp, who is a baronet, which I had to look up. It's like just below a baron, but above most knights. So
Baronet.
yeah,
That
it's like a
makes
mini
so
baron.
much
Yeah.
sense.
It's a mini baron.
Oh my god.
So Tom, also in Only Lovers Left Alive, obviously. Which there's a part of me that's like, that would have been an interesting one to pair with this, but they're almost too similar. Like there's almost too much in common.
Okay.
Obviously he's Loki in the Marvel multiverse. He's Chuck in The Life of Chuck from this year. He's F. Scott Fitzgerald in Midnight in Paris, literature's greatest cuckold, and the Great Escapo in Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh my god, what? He's in a Muppets movie?
He's in a Muppets
That's
movie.
one I haven't
I was
seen.
delighted by that. Had to shout that out.
If you want to watch a really weird, fucked up Tom Hiddleston movie,
Yes.
the movie High Rise is based off a novel. It's
Ooh.
very,
Have
very
not heard
weird. It all
of
takes
this.
place in a high rise that kind of comes crumbling down. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but his performance is incredible. It's a weird movie. It's you love it or you hate it. But just as a
Amazing.
Tom Hiddleston fan, I'm shouting
Love.
that out.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We have Charlie Hunnam as Dr. Alan McMichael. He is Jax Teller on Sons of Anarchy.
I mean,
Raleigh in Pacific Rim, so he just worked with GDT on that.
Shut up.
Patrick in Children of Men, Arthur in King Arthur Legend of the Sword, Percy Fawcett in The Lost City of Z, and Nicholas Nickleby in Nicholas Nickleby. Shockingly enough. We have Jim Beaver as Carter Cushing. He's Whitney Ellsworth on Deadwood. Lawson in Breaking Bad, so a little New
funny.
Mexico crossover.
Yeah.
Bobby Singer in Supernatural, and Robert Singer on The Boys. Cute shout out.
Oh,
Love that the character name
funny.
gets taken over from that.
Yeah. That's cute.
Sure, that's intentional.
Yeah.
Bern Gorman as Holly. He's Stryver in The Dark Knight Rises, Gottlieb in Pacific Rim, Father Damien in Beetlejuice, and here's our Game of Thrones crossover. He's Carl Tanner in Game of Thrones.
Oh, funny.
And our beloved Doug Jones is back.
I didn't realize he was in this.
He's in this. Do you know who he was? Did
Was
you
he the
spot him
mom?
anywhere? Yep, he's both ghost moms.
Ugh.
He's the ghost of Edith's mom
mommies.
and Lady Sharp. He's mommy. Honestly, yeah, Doug Jones is mommy.
He is.
Now
I
that
love
I say
him.
that,
I love him
like,
so much. I just
yeah.
watched like an interview with him on TikTok the other day, and I'm just like, I just love this man.
Hashtag Doug Jones is a
His
MILF.
mommy.
He's a MILF.
He's MILF. You heard it here.
You heard it here first, and I'm standing by
We should
it.
have shirts that say
Doug Jones is a MILF.
That's so funny.
He
would love that.
I think he would.
His mother.
I think he
His
would.
mother.
This man has 188 acting credits on IMDb, and he's like 60 now. Like he's not even that old.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's got another 17 in development listed right now. Just insane.
What a cool career.
If it's got latex and you love it,
Yeah,
it's Doug
it's him.
Jones. He's the Baron in What We Do in the Shadows. He's Saru in Star Trek Discovery, the Creature in The Shape of Water, Abe Sapien in Hellboy, the Pale Man and the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth, Augustus in Adaptation, which I'd forgotten about, Billy Butcherson in Hocus Pocus, the Thin Clown in Burton's Batman Returns, so a little crossover there.
Yeah.
And he's Long John in Mimic. And he also, I hate that I have to share this information, but I have to. He appears in the music video for All Star by Smash Mouth.
Wait, where? Where is he? I don't remember the music video.
Pencilhead. That's what the
Pencilhead.
credit is. Didn't.
I'm so happy you shouted that out because it's not
You're
like I don't know
welcome, everybody.
every word to that song.
Don't we all? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't we all
That's
star?
incredible.
Yeah. Also a shout out to another great creature actor. Did you have a thing, Trev?
It's fine.
Okay, great.
I'm just enjoying this episode too much.
I'm so glad. We feed on it. Shout out to another great creature actor, Javier Botet, who plays the ghosts of Enola, Margaret, and Pamela. Goes on to be Slenderman and Slenderman, set in the 2017 The Mummy, and Dracula in Last Voyage of the Demeter. So he's another, he like works in the Doug Joneses sphere, and it's cute that they got to work together on this project. That made me very happy. Note that the Cushing character names are likely a nod to Peter Cushing of Hammer horror fame. Yeah. So speaking of Hammer
so funny.
horror,
Love that.
moving into writing, the script.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, right. It all kind of comes back
circle.
to the same material with these two films.
Absolutely.
So this script was originally written on spec, which I thought was interesting, by Del Toro and Robbins, which means like nobody commissioned it, nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
It was written because he wanted to make it. Sold to Universal with Del Toro attached to direct way back in 2006, 9 years before the film gets made.
Wow, yeah. Both these had it was
a
only 5 years,
long
but
lead
still.
time.
Damn.
And it was, in fact, the script he wrote immediately after Pan's Labyrinth came out. It was his first post-Pan script.
Wow.
But then it, quote-unquote, got delayed. Why do we think it gets delayed? I have a few guesses. In the time between, GDT, who's famously a, like, one for them, one for me kind of director, like, you know,
Hey.
he'll do a Hellboy and then he'll do a Pan's Labyrinth.
Fund your projects.
Yeah. Which I love, but he, in the time between the last one that really felt like a one for me, to me, of his work, which was Pan's Labyrinth, he does Hellboy 2, Pacific Rim, and co-writes all of those Hobbits, which he's supposed to direct and then doesn't get to.
Right.
And I wonder if the scale of this film, given that I already spoiled the budget, that it's 50 mil, kind of kept it gate-kept by the studios until he made them a whole lot of profits.
Sure.
And so
Or
I wonder,
he can show that he can do it. Especially Pacific Rim is like
huge.
I mean, so were the Hobbits.
Huge.
to be fair, but-
And so I wonder if they kind of kept dangling it over his head, being like, oh, after the next one you make money on, you can do Crimson Peak. Go after the next one.
Yeah.
Especially because in the time intervening between those, there's also a giant recession and a writer's strike.
Right. Oh my
So
gosh, yeah.
I imagine that those things made the studios much more unwilling to let him do his one for me.
Absolutely.
Which makes me really sad. GDT himself seems to kind of confirm this to some degree in a Deadline article where he cites Hellboy 2 as the first roadblock that Crimson Peak's schedule faced. And I'm sure he really wanted to do Hellboy, but it also kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
The studio also tries to convince him to step aside from directing Crimson Peak.
Really?
Just like they'd just done to him on The Hobbit.
That's
But
so
thank
wild.
God GDT pushes
Well,
back.
he's like, I wrote this. I want to do it.
Yeah. Well, and also, like,
It's mine.
I mean, think about it. Who else is going to do this justice?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is such a GDT film.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, I can't find anybody I like for it. So I guess it has to be me. We love
Love
thank
that.
goodness. And so at the end of the day, Universal, who again, they're the ones who bought the rights, they end up distributing it, but they don't end up producing it.
Really?
So what happens instead is Legendary Entertainment, which he just worked with on Pacific Rim. They're the ones who produced that. They ask him, so what do you want to do next? And he presents them with 3 potential ideas. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
So basically, Legendary teams up with Del Toro's own Double Dare You Productions, Universal lets Legendary pick the property up on one condition, which is that they can choose to buy back in later into the project if they want to, presumably to come back in for distro. They end up doing this, clearly, because it is a Universal distributed film.
Yeah.
But basically, they bought it and then sat on it for like 8 years, and then we're like, oh yeah, I guess you can go take it somewhere else, as long as we can still come back in at the last minute if we decide to.
Yeah, if we think it's gonna make money. Oh god, it's just so shitty.
Pisses me off so much.
I get it.
Yeah. But so let's take that pin out of those 3 projects that he presents them. One of them is Crimson Peak, but he expects that to be the least interesting to them. And they end up actually loving it because of the scale it is. They're like, this is our perfect like Goldilocks zone. Not too big, not too small for what we want to do. The other 2, one is a sort of Western-tinged adaptation of Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Another is an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's In the Mountains of Madness. Which has Tom Cruise attached to star and James Cameron attached to supervise 3D effects.
Wow.
And it never gets made.
Wow.
It's shocking to me.
I'm shocked that the studios, that sounds so perfect.
I know.
Like, I feel like success just written into it.
The fact that the studio that had just done Pacific Rim looks at that project with Tom Cruise and James Cameron attached and is like, we actually want the lower budget gothic romance.
Yeah. It
like
feels like a non-safe bet
wild.
For them,
wild.
Interesting. I wonder what came around that time to make them switch.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
So, back to the film at hand, there was also at one point a female British screenwriter named Lucinda Coxon brought on to do a rewrite with an eye to kind of punching up the gothic Britishness.
Ooh.
She does not end up receiving screen credit. I don't know what happened there. I imagine it wasn't good. Yeah.
I always find that, not to like pause too much on it, but I find it interesting that a lot of times the screenwriter, the one who rewrites things,
does not get credit. I've been that screenwriter before. It's very weird, especially when like the version that ends up getting made is like closer to what you wrote.
Yeah.
And your name is not the one on screen.
And same with Sleepy Hollow. And like we've covered other films before. And
it
like
happens a lot.
Even the guy who did the rewrites on this, he's like Pulp Fiction. I'm like, how are you
not credited?
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Pay you to shut up.
And she's actually, Lucinda Coxon is the one who wrote The Danish Girl, which is the 2015 film starring Eddie Redmayne as a trans woman. So I'm like kind of glad that she wasn't involved in this. Like, I know everybody, it seems like the people involved in that were well-intentioned enough, but it's just so like,
it's hard to watch now. I did like it when it came out.
I haven't watched it, to be fair. And I know Eddie Redmayne is like extremely guilty about having made it, which like good. But so in interviews on the set for this film, GDT draws a very careful distinction between gothic horror and gothic romance. And he's like, this is a gothic romance. It can have what he describes as the trappings of gothic horror. But for him, true gothic horror is stories that, quote, fully embrace supernatural as part of the modern narrative. And gothic romance has at its core a dark love story. And he's like, the love story is the core of this. The horror is the trappings.
I was going to say, I think you watch Sleepy Hollow and you can see the gothic horror and then
the gothic romance. I think it's such a good example. That's one that's a gothic horror with some romantic trappings.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a gothic romance with some horror trappings.
Yep.
And in classic GDT fashion, he draws on his childhood fears. We love. And of course, as we've found out on our last GDT episode, he has a ton of like haunting stories from his childhood.
Yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah, we're going to bring in several more.
Okay, great.
So one of the childhood memories that he draws on a lot for this is he used to stay at his grandmother's house in Mexico a lot. And he remembers getting up in the dark at night to go down the hallway to get water when he woke up in the middle of the night and passing a long corridor and always expecting somebody to be waiting at the end of the corridor. Yeah. And so that's where the idea of the corridor as what he calls the ghost generator comes from.
Stop. That corridor is iconic. Also, why was everyone's grandparents' house haunted?
Oh, absolutely.
That clock ticking and it was just haunted.
Oh yeah. The long walk in the middle of the night to get water. It's so like I'm glad that's a universal experience. Yeah. Another key reference point is a haunting he experiences while in New Zealand location scouting for The Hobbit.
Oh.
So here's a quote. He says, I knew from my research that there was a haunted hotel with a haunted room. The hotel was empty because it was the off season, so this huge 1800s hotel, completely empty except for the 8 people who were in my film scout party. We arrived and everybody went to a different room in the hotel, and I specifically asked for the haunted hotel room, because of course you did. They gave me the key, and nothing happened until around, talk about cliche, midnight. Around midnight, I start hearing a woman screaming horribly like she was being murdered. And once again, I didn't panic. I thought one of the guys or girls on the crew was pulling my leg. So I didn't get scared, and I started to track the voice. The voice was coming from the ventilation chute that went directly into the basement. That's when I got a little creeped out, but I didn't leave the room. The voice eventually stopped, but then 5 minutes later, I started hearing the most heartbreaking, loud bawling from a male voice, full of regret and sorrow, and it was coming from the same place. That's when I freaked out. I put on my headphones and watched the entire season of The Wire that I was carrying with me. I love him so much.
He's such a cutie patootie.
He is me. He's the most relatable director.
That's so funny. He really is.
Yeah.
I love his authenticity with like everything that he does.
Like, of course he got scared and watched an entire season of The Wire. That's his comfort show. Very comforting material.
Let me do this real quick. That's so funny. Spooky.
There's also, while we're talking about the script, there's a line that they shoot that ends up getting cut in post-production that GDT like laments losing after the fact. He's like, I shouldn't have cut that. That I wanted to bring in because it's really interesting, where there used to be a line of dialogue between Thomas and Lucille about how the elevator only got put into the house when Mother became an invalid. And so the idea of the elevator being this connection between the attic where his projects are being worked on and the basement, which Guillermo describes as the guts of the house. It's Mother. It's her presence running through all of it. And at the time, he cut it because he was like, well, it's obvious that that's what happened. And then he looks back on it and he's like, it wasn't obvious. So I want to shout that out because it really like enriches it to me. Once you hear it, it seems obvious, but I didn't put it together myself.
Same. Wow.
Yep.
Man.
Love. What a genius. So themes, approach, and history. If there's one thing about traditional Gothic romance that GDT is aiming to invert instead of just pay this like really loving homage to, which is what most of this film is, just really straight up loving homage, the one thing he wants to invert is the gender dynamics. And here's a quote. He says, "I made it a point to make every man in the movie useless."
I love him.
Another connection between our films. The men are useless.
Truly.
Normally in Gothic romance, you end with the male hero carrying the girl without a shirt and rescuing her from imminent danger. I wanted to sort of actualize the genre a little bit and make the female roles the central roles. And that's kind of fascinating to me because Gothic romance is an area where historically female writers have actually had a lot more freedom, like thinking about like the Bronte sisters and stuff like that. But I also get what he's saying. I think the genre's relationship to gender has just always been really complicated. Like Gothic horror and gender, it's a very mixed up stew. But I wanted to like shout out his take on that. And that's also, this is why I said if I can make you love Tom Hiddleston any more than you already do, that's something he talked about a lot, specifically when it came to the nudity in this film. He was like, I'm so sick of women always being the one on screen who are more naked than the men in the love scenes. And so we really wanted to make it a point, me and Guillermo, to make sure that I'm the more bared in that scene. And like, she's completely clothed the entire time.
So many layers.
Bare ass naked.
Oh, I love it.
And it's glorious.
That's the part I started to, weirdly enough, fall asleep to. I was so comforted by his little tush.
Just soothed you right to sleep. So gay of you, Al.
He seems like such a little safe space.
I know.
For
also, just such an eloquent man. The way he describes his roles.
The way he thinks about his characters. Even just watch interviews him talking about Loki and like the amount of, that's why I think that character has lasted so long, is because he cares about his characters.
Yeah, he's given so much depth to it.
Yeah.
But speaking of dames,
speaking of dames,
GDT refers to the films that inspired Crimson Peak as his grand dames of horror.
Oh,
isn't that adorable?
That's cool.
Specifically, that, quote, to me, that the grand names are Robert Wise's The Haunting, which was a big movie, beautifully directed, with the house built magnificently. And the other granddaddy is Jack Clayton's The Innocents. I've always tried to make big-sized horror movies like the ones I grew up watching, films like The Omen, The Exorcist, and The Shining, the latter of which is another Mount Everest of the haunted house movie. I loved the way that Kubrick had such control over the big sets he used and how much big production value there was. I think people are getting used to horror subjects done as found footage or B-value budgets. I wanted this to feel like a throwback.
I love
Very
that they
similar.
both. I was gonna say, yeah, him and Tim Burton like went back to what made them love, and I do think it's so true. We like these big set horrors. We just don't.
We'd kind of let that fall by the wayside for a while, and it's funny since a lot of Gothic movies were made as B movies, but they still tried to put as much on screen as possible, to be as sumptuous as possible. And I think that's something that horror was really moving away from at this time, and it's nice to see them fighting back against it.
Yeah, we've done a lot of like horror films around that era. So
and it's I mean, even thinking about The Witch, as you brought up, which like it's another period film, it is so like stark and cold in comparison to Crimson Peak.
Yeah,
like
very angular.
Yeah, and not in a negative way at all. I
No,
loved The Witch, but like in terms of
different, very different contrast.
Not sumptuous.
Yeah,
like they may talk about living deliciously. They are not living deliciously. And another major reference that he cites is Italian horror director Mario Bava, which if you're an Argento fan, Mario's in his camp. They make a lot of giallo together, so check him out. Cool. Start of production. So this starts shooting primarily in Toronto and a couple other parts of Ontario, but it's mainly at, I believe it's Pinewood Studios in Toronto, which at the time was, I think, the biggest soundstage in the world. And they need every inch of space they can get for this.
They built that practically.
Starts shooting in February of 2014 and wraps in May on a budget of $55 million. So officially my highest budget yet.
Really?
Yeah, that's up there.
Yeah.
Not our highest budget yet.
Yeah, please. I was gonna say we've definitely done some like big ones, but I forget. I usually do the more modern, which are gonna
have higher budgets. Yeah, and I know. I think we realized last time that the highest I'd talked about so far was Dracula, which was 40 mil.
Right.
So 55. Cast and crew, I want to shout out that Jessica Chastain, GDT really wanted it to actually be her playing the piano, and she had never played piano before. And so she took 4 months of piano lessons to prepare for the part. It does appear, I will shout out that she talks about it in all of her interviews as if she's the one playing the piano in every single shot. They did have a piano double. Okay. There is a musician who was hired to be the hand for a couple of scenes, but she also did spend 4 months intensively learning Chopin.
That's really cool.
And according to an interview with the Chicago Sun-Times, she used coffee to build the character. Here's a quote from the article. The actress, who doesn't regularly drink coffee, requested that the crew prepare 6 cups of espresso for her for a particular scene. And she says, quote, I just wanted to be so wired. I knew that it would give me the right look, like in her eyes.
Yeah, she looks insane.
Yeah. So just before we shot the scene, I downed all 6 espressos, one right after the other.
She had to be vibrating. Especially people who don't, even if I
drink coffee,
off drinking too much caffeine. Like, even if I do like 1 cup a day, and then if I have, like when I was a barista for like a very, very brief stint, I get very used to the caffeine. Yeah. Like I could do like 6, 7, 8 shots in a day. In a day.
That's the thing. Like,
but I'd be vibrating.
I felt regular coffee drinker. I'm drinking 3 cups of coffee and I feel ill.
Yeah, like I gotta stop for the day. I can I have to have my like end of day pickup.
I can't imagine 6 espressos as a non-coffee
And you know she was
drinker.
probably. She didn't have a full breakfast.
No, of course she didn't. She's Jessica Chastain.
She's just snacking away.
Yeah, and so she says, she's like, I'll always remember that day because man, was it an experience.
Does she remember that day?
She like vibrated out of her skin.
She remembers it in like 3 times speed. That's insane.
God, yeah.
God, she's so insane.
Adore
in this,
her.
Though,
yeah, it's really an incredible performance.
She's fighting for her life.
Yes. I also loved this. Guillermo changed the script after the recasting. He would do table reads with them, and they all thought at that point, after the table reads, that the script was done, and then they came in, started working on the film, and he would edit the script as they were working on it in response to their rehearsals, how they were reading the lines. I love.
We were just to, like, I was actually having the conversation the other day about how people often forget that film and any art is like but specifically film is a living thing that you can plan all you want, but it doesn't matter. And that just shows that like it's a living, breathing thing that you have to listen to.
And it sounds like it was an extremely collaborative set, and one of the places you really see that is the scene where Thomas and Lucille are making tea. The way they move around the kitchen, they worked together with Guillermo to like choreograph it like a dance, because they were like, if this brother and sister have been making tea in this kitchen together for so long, it needs to feel like every beat of it has been done a million times. Isn't that so satisfying?
Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, I love that.
Production design. We must talk about the production design. This is the section that I've been waiting for. It's really what's most spectacular about this film. So, production designer on this film is Thomas Sanders, and this was his second to last movie.
Oh shit!
Which is so tragic. After Crimson Peak, he makes Star Trek Beyond, and then passes in 2017. But this man was the production designer on Saving Private Ryan, Secretariat, Braveheart, Mission Impossible 2. He art directed Hook. But his very first credit,
you'd see him in there.
Oh, absolutely. You can. It feels like there's a through line there.
Yeah.
Even with such different genres, styles, directors. Yeah. But his very first credit as head of department was on 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Shut up.
Had never done production design before on that level. We talked about him. And like, of course, that's who you want to...
I don't fucking remember shit,
Siena. I know, same. But of course, that's who you want to production design Crimson Peak, is the person who did Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that's so... Oh, I love that so much.
And as I mentioned in the first half, this house was built from the ground up.
That's wild to me.
No part of this... I assumed that this was like a Saltburn situation where they found an incredible, like, crumbling estate and, like, shot mostly there with, like, a couple of additional things on set. No, none of this existed beforehand.
I actually thought a little bit... See, I'm going to be honest. With the scale of that thing, I thought it was going to be the instance of, like, the bones, but it was CGI. Like, really well CGI.
No.
Honestly, that's what my assumption was.
There is CGI used in the movie, of course, and we're going to talk about where. But one of the only things that they actually shot exterior of was a shot of approaching Allerdale Hall from the outside. They did like go to a hill outside Toronto and build part of the castle on there, and then CGI'd in a bit of the addition. But all of the interior, all of that is real, built from scratch for this film, completely usable and functional, and destroyed afterwards. Which a lot of them talk about feeling really sad at the idea that this space doesn't exist anymore, because they felt like they were really living in it for the months that they were there.
I don't know if the Sleepy Hollow one got taken down too. I'm assuming it did because it was on the estate, but I'm like, oh, it hurts.
I know, especially with something like this that is functional.
I wish I was rich so I could be like, come build things on my land and it'll stay there.
Or to be like, I'll buy it off of you after you're done. Let me live in that house. So Tom Sanders like talks about how cracks in the house are bleeding, how there's one place in the wallpaper where the cracks in the wallpaper, if viewed from a certain angle, spell out the word fear. There's like all sorts of tiny little details woven through it. And the Gothic corridor. We have to talk about that corridor.
It's perfect.
It's incredible. Did you notice that the shape of that corridor is the negative space of a woman's body? It's like the outline of a woman in a bonnet and an old-fashioned dress. That's the shape of the corridor. Almost like the shape of the mother.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So, not only that, GDT also notes, I'm going to have to put a picture of this because like it's very hard to describe this, but I'll do my best. And we'll put pictures when we TikTok it. Every time, you know how there's those kind of teeth cut out in the shape of the corridor, like it's spiky at the top. Where there are those spikes, it's not just cut into the wood once. It's like there's a layer of that cut and then it goes back a little bit and then there's another one and another one and another one. So each of those shapes is cut 4 times to create this visual illusion like your eyes are blurring around the edges of the space.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Like your eyes are going out of focus, and it's not out of focus. It's that it's this careful cutout to look like it's getting fuzzy.
God. I was going to say they had to have looked up because that corridor itself looks like an optical illusion. So
yeah, it is.
Research they had to do for that.
It also, the shape of the corridor echoes the shape of the mother's grave. It echoes the shape of the keyhole that Lucille peers through. And again, supposed to look like a woman wearing a bonnet with teeth. And there's this amazing behind the scenes on set interview with GDT and I think Hiddleston's the one in the other chair. And they're joking about the shape of the corridor. And GDT turns to Hiddleston and he's like, "It's the bonetta dentata."
I can just hear his little voice. Oh my God, I love him. That's so
and
cute.
Hiddleston just loses it.
Oh,
It's
sure,
great, yeah.
sure. God, they must have just been so giggly on this set.
Amazing. And again, fully functional. The kitchen worked. They talk about how when they were making the tea, they had to remember to turn off the stove afterwards, which like that's never the case on a film set.
Especially, yeah, something like that detail.
That doesn't happen. And as GDT notes, quote, moving into talking about the clay mines a little bit, they are, quote, the gut of the house, the place where the most emotional and the most violent confrontations are going to take place. And he notes that the shape of the mines, of those big pits, is very Romanesque. And he says that he chooses that specifically, that he wants it to be full of circles to convey a sense of repetition.
Sure.
And he says, quote, "If there's a body hidden in one of those vats, there must be a body hidden in other vats."
Genius.
And so that's,
I mean, but you get that. The second you know it's in one, you're like, cool, they're all in there.
It fills it in for you. Absolutely. And it's that sense of circularity, of repetition, the story beginning and ending in the same place. It's all full of circles, baby.
Yep.
And you know how I mentioned how Mia Wasikowska feels like dwarfed in comparison to the set? There's a good reason for that. It's because they made 2 sets of furniture for this film. One regular sized and one too dwarf. Yeah.
No.
Isn't that amazing? So according to
No
PD Tom, he says they, quote, "made regular size and oversized furniture and switched in the larger pieces over the course of the movie to make it look like Mia was shrinking."
You know what? I always joke too, like, once her hair goes down, I said, don't anybody at me. She reminds me of E.T. with the wig.
Oh my
because
God.
It's just like, it looks like it's just sitting on her and she's just shuffling around. But to that point, because all that stuff's so big on him, and he's just shuffling around trying to like live his life, trying to get through it. He's like, I'm blending in, right?
Well,
and that's her. She's fucking just so dwarfed in her outfit. But now that makes so much sense.
You see it really as they're feeding her the tea towards the second half of the movie, and she's sitting in this giant winged armchair.
So, I mean, it's not like it's subtle, but it's just
but it
like,
really, it does feel like she's shrinking.
Yeah, because she looks like a little toddler running around.
And especially it works with the costumes too, where they're all like a little too long for her, and so it like looks like she's about to trip on it all the time.
Sleeves too.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
And all of the final snowy showdown, all interior, all on a soundstage.
Oh, cool.
All on a soundstage because they wanted to keep the fog there, and they knew if they shot this outside, they could blast the fog machine for an hour and it would just dissipate the second a wind picks up.
I mean, that's why.
So it's all inside in front of a white cyclorama that they used key details. I think probably some miniatures too.
Sure.
To kind of reference coming out of the fog.
Oh, I'm sure. That's so fun.
GDT calls this the limbo set, which I thought was very fun, that it's like this like in between the realms space. Let's see, costumes. Costume designer on this film is Kate Hawley. She goes on to work, or she had just worked with GDT on Pacific Rim.
Cool.
Goes on to do 2016 Suicide Squad. Great costumes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the costumes.
Great costumes.
I mean, people still wear them.
Absolutely. Her Harley Quinn, iconic.
I mean,
yeah. The movie may not be good, but Kate Hawley's work is.
Margot Robbie was great.
Agreed. I mean, yeah, she's wonderful in that. The Call of the Wild and the Lord of the Rings of Power series she does.
No fucking way. Those costumes are fucking
She's
insane.
amazing.
I'm
And you
so
can
excited
tell,
for the next
talking
season.
about period authenticity and things really feeling lived in. She's great at that.
Oh, man.
She
I love her.
he carries her along onto Frankenstein, which very much you can so feel that it's the same costume designer behind this movie.
I'm chomping at the bit to go home today and watch it.
The costumes are insane,
beautiful.
Al.
Oh,
Especially
man.
Mia Goth's. It's
Ugh.
just
Ugh.
what she does with red in that movie is
Ugh.
very similar to
I'm
kind of
so
the red costumes for Lucille in this, which like
Yeah.
apparently there's a great I watched so many behind the scenes interviews for this, and she talks about how she and Guillermo had originally planned for Thomas and Lucille when they first come to the States to be all in black, like drops of ink.
Oh.
And GDT kind of comes to her not long before they're going to shoot the ballroom scene and is like, I think we need Lucille to be the drop of blood. We've got her
Yeah.
we need to have her be red.
She's so
It's
that scene where she's at the piano
perfect.
and then just like goes like
Yeah.
this and turns back. Oh,
I'm like,
terrifying.
drain my blood?
I
Like,
know she's
what the fuck?
God. Her also with dark hair.
It's so good on
Her features
her.
are like insane.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Talk about like period face, like
Yeah.
or,
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah.
yeah. Like retro
Everyone
face. What was the
was-
word you used? Something like that.
Oh, people have iPhone face now.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, she
yeah.
does not have iPhone face.
Not at all. That bitch has never seen an iPhone.
Mhm.
She doesn't know what a TV is.
Ugh. Yeah, so very much shout out to Kate Hawley. She's incredible. And she
that's
talks about
amazing.
how she worked on creating all of these incredible hand sewn, everything done custom prototypes for the costumes. Guillermo approves them and then is like, great, now we're going to need 13 of them. And she's like, you're what? And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's all going to be practical. So what she ends up doing is creating kind of like almost like overcoats of the costumes that can be taken and then placed on top of 13 different like foundation garments essentially.
It's like a little paper doll.
Yeah,
Life, like just
yeah.
putting it. That's really interesting.
Really
like having the
clever.
silhouette skeleton of the outfits and then
Mhm.
wow.
Kind of the
Genius.
Yeah, the over
Genius.
cover. And lots of color theory going on in this film. There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of contrast between Mia and Buffalo are always in yellow, gold tones. This is in both the costumes and the cinematography. They wanted it to feel, Guillermo talked a lot about wanting to create this really intense contrast between the wealth and the sense of opportunity and warmth and richness in the new world and the cold and crumbling old world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the sharps are blue next to the yellow. The red, as Tom Hiddleston points out, only emerges when these two worlds meet, when the yellow and blue come together, which like love.
Yeah.
Lucille in particular, her black dress has the same teeth details. It's part of why I wore this. Has the same teeth details on it as the ghost corridor.
Oh.
It echoes the shapes of it. And they do a whole lot of butterfly versus moth motifs for them, which you see in the costumes. You also see it in the house design. The floor, the wood patterns in the floor are designed to look like giant moths. And so Lucille is the moth, the creature of the
That
night,
eats
connected
the-
to the moon, that eats the butterflies. Mia's the butterfly, the yellow
So
wings,
good.
which also, shout out, this is like moving ahead a little bit, but shout out to the visual effects team. All of the close-ups of the butterflies dying and getting eaten, entirely CG.
Wow. They did a really
They did
good
a
job with
really
those.
good job. The ants are all CG, crawling on the ground, all of
Yeah,
that.
like the flies and stuff too.
Mhm.
That's really good.
Really impressive. But yeah, so there's a lot going into Lucille's costumes in particular to tie her to the space and emphasize
Yeah.
that she and the space are connected.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, even just like the overcoats that she wears, that silhouette is very butterfly-like in
Yes,
shape,
very
as well.
much.
I
And I
guess moth-like
saw,
too, but
I didn't find the costume designer talking about this, but I saw somebody comment on YouTube, and this was a thought that I had as well, that it seems like Lucille's clothes are a little bit out of fashion compared to Mia's, that they're
Right.
from a slightly earlier period.
especially if his, they have a line about his being a little out to date that she points out. So I'm assuming probably
Which I think
the
is partly
same.
to do with them being ghosts.
Yeah.
Like that their clothes are from when they died, probably. Yeah, so moving on into special effects, makeup. This team, I love reading through the credits on the special effects side because it sometimes just the titles they give people tell you so much. And one of the credits on here was for foam latex suits.
Oh my gosh.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
That guy was Roland Blancafleur, who also worked on Hellboy, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Trek Beyond,
Wow,
The
yeah.
Strain. Key special effects artist was Javi Bastida, who also worked on Pan's Labyrinth, The Orphanage, Hellboy, Rec 4, Devil's Backbone, and the Almodovar film Talk to Her. So it's a team that GDT clearly knows, trusts,
Yeah.
has worked with a whole lot. And it's really interesting to me that this department is one of the only ones that he doesn't really carry over onto Frankenstein. Because he carries over, I think he carries over the same cinematographer. Yes, he does. He carries over the same costume designer. There's a whole lot of crossover. PD dies before Frankenstein, so he can't obviously there, but like I imagine he probably would have. But I'm super curious why that's one that doesn't.
Yeah. Part of me is like, because I feel like sometimes those groups kind of form their own, and I'm wondering if they like do their own thing
now. Yeah, that's a good question. But so I'm curious also, after you watch Frankenstein, if you have any thoughts about the makeup in particular afterwards.
I'm really excited to watch it directly after watching Crimson Peak.
It's such a good, they really are cut from the same cloth.
Cool. Very cool.
Also, Jessica Chastain had to get a full body cast made as part of the pre-production process, including her hands. And I brought in photos because she took photos and posted them on her Facebook page at the time.
She's such, I love her.
You can tell she was like really enjoying this project.
She probably asked them so many questions during the process. She's so interesting. I love her.
Wasn't able to 100% confirm this, but she and GDT had worked together previously on a film from 2013 called Mama that is directed by, oh my gosh, what's his name? Andy Muschietti, who does the It movies. That's his first film.
Right.
And it sounds like GDT sent her the script for Crimson Peak off of that, didn't tell her a character, and as the story goes, was expecting her to want Edith. And she's the one who gravitated towards Lucille and was like, this is the way more interesting character.
I was going to say, she plays, like, her career. If you haven't seen her in Scenes from a Marriage.
Oh, I'm dying to.
Have fucking fun. I got shit-faced watching those by myself. I watched like one. I used to. I think I treated myself like every Friday night. Treated myself sobbing.
Yeah. Oh,
sobbing.
Yeah. It seems devastating. I mean, it's based on Bergman, so like
it's also. I think it's the reason. Speaking of Frankenstein, why her and Oscar Isaac don't talk anymore. I think it was like such an intense. But it's interesting because each episode starts with like them coming onto set, and I swear to God, it's to like show you that this is not real because it feels so real. It's and it just, I think like her career, to me, I'm not surprised she wanted the darker or like more morally complex role, because I think of her like peak Chastain for me is Scenes from a Marriage.
Love.
I don't know. I just love her so much. I just wanted to shout that out. So if anyone hasn't watched it, comfort yourself.
Yes.
But yeah, it's insane.
And if I'm remembering correctly, I think one of the films she cites as a reference point for her performance is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which makes a ton of sense. For this, yeah. Like she's really looking towards very kind of like exaggerated, stylized performances, and like, man, does she sell it.
I was gonna say, it's such a fine, like a character like this, like
it
her
could
line
be
delivery
so over the top so easily.
Yeah, and you almost don't know what
to make of it.
Yeah, you're like, are you trying to help me? Are you not trying to help me?
Yeah, like there's something about her character. She is so at an 11 from the beginning, but you also. She talks about it behind the scenes. She's like, this character has to be so grounded in love. Everything she does is because that love is so intense.
Her cry dragging his dad, which he was great at playing dad,
destroyed me.
Dragging him.
Yeah.
Oh,
their relationship.
Wild.
I'm
wild.
Like, it's disgusting, obviously, but I'm also kind of rooting for them in the weirdest, most fucked up way.
Yeah.
Like, just
it kind of is that. The whole movie is like,
yeah.
And like, I love what's his name's Alan. Like, I love when he comes and saves, but I'm like, oh,
he's so supposed to be the
I'm like, can we just swap? Everyone just swap.
We can all live swap. Happily. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Okay, so Ghost Hiddleston.
Incredible
design. Since you brought him up. Oh my God. So this was one of the coolest VFX things that I discovered so the VFX company that did this is a house called Mr. X, and they have an incredible series of videos on YouTube where they do special effects breakdowns of the movies that they've done.
Sounds really familiar.
It sounded really familiar to me too. I'm trying to figure out if there's
I feel like I had a film that had Mr. X, so that sounds so fucking familiar to me. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Whatever. So, one of the things that they did was I really didn't. I'd heard people telling stories about this shot beforehand, and I didn't really understand how impactful it was until I saw it in the VFX
Yeah.
breakdown. So for the entire climax scene where Tom Hiddleston is a ghost,
Yes.
usually the way you'd shoot that would be to have two separate plates and shoot
Mhm.
Mia in one
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
Tom in another time. He was on set there to interact with the whole time. They
Cool.
actually filmed them in the space together so that she could actually physically touch him.
Amazing.
Which then you're like, okay, so how did her hand go through him?
Yeah.
That shot, the only things that are VFX in there are adding on the blood, the like
Mhm.
drips of blood that are coming off of his
So
face,
satisfying.
making him transparent,
Sure.
and having her hand go through his face. Everything else is special effects makeup.
Wow.
Everything else, the
Yeah.
pallor, the cracks in his
Sure.
face, none
That's
of
why it
that's
feels-
VFX.
That's why it looks so good.
That's
That's
all.
why it
Yeah,
looks
it was
good.
3 hours of
It
makeup.
could look really crappy.
It could look so
It
bad.
could look really cheesy.
And
That
so then,
blood too coming off
yeah.
her off of him is insane.
And then you can see on the VFX breakdown, they build a fake hand off of her real hand, like at the wrist where the
Yeah.
lace is, so that then as her hand passes through, they can like fake the motion of what the digital hand would be doing passing through him.
Oh.
And then take out her real hand so you don't see it actually touching his cheek, but do see his cheek instead of just not having the actor there and then comping them together,
Interesting.
which is like the most, again, you really need to see the clip of it to
Yeah.
understand it, but it's truly the most labor intensive way I could think of to do it.
That's so crazy. Because this film like has so much or what feels like CG, but it's like I'm actually gagged that a lot of it isn't where I thought it was.
Yeah, it's really and it's always where there is CG, it's married with practical effects.
Yeah,
like you're
that's why
never
it
seeing
looks-
just CG alone. You're seeing CG working with a
It's
real
amazing.
performer.
As
Like
it should be done.
especially with the ghosts, how they do those is they have
So cool.
Javier Botet and Doug Jones there performing those characters with, suits where like I can't remember
You're
which
just
ghost
adding
it is, but the
on.
one whose face is missing, whose head
Yeah.
is hollow. I think that's Javier Botet playing that one. And so he's there doing all of the motions,
Yeah.
wearing the full costume with then just a green on like the piece of the finger that's
Yeah.
missing and over the head.
Yeah.
And so then they have to go in and comp track out
That's
the
so
face.
cool.
But so
And then
all
just-
of the motion is real.
Yeah, and like the kind of like blood wispiness, just putting
Mhm.
that on something that's already existing to enhance
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
fully replace.
And I'm also
That's
like,
genius.
that is this to me is where you want to use CG is for the creation of something like a bloody ghost,
Yeah.
where it's like, I don't have a real world reference point for what
Yeah.
that's supposed to look like. You can
And
make it
it's-
fantastic.
What other film has that effect is so unique to this
Yes,
film too.
the
that
way
it-
the ghosts in this film look is so
it's so cool.
it's incredible, and I
Just the
truly think
crawling
it's
one that coming out of the floor.
Yes,
It's
I'm obsessed
so
with
scary.
that one.
So scary.
That feels very Ring influence to me,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the Japanese
the coming
Ring.
out,
the
yeah,
like
the
very
crawl.
Buto movement.
Mhm,
And again, I
yes.
think you would not get that if it weren't a real human performer doing those movements in that incredibly creepy way.
It's gummy.
Yes,
They always feel gummy
yeah.
if it's just
so you have
no
that
bones.
real human performance, and then the CG goes in and builds an entire rig, including where the bones would be moving, where the muscles would be moving. They build all of
great.
that detail in and marry the two.
Yep.
And that's
You
like,
make it look good.
yeah, again, the most
Love it.
hardcore, heavy lifting way
Yep.
you could possibly do this, and it looks amazing. So impressed.
That's great.
Cinematography is by Danish DP Dan Laustsen, who did The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Goes on to shoot John Wick's 2, 3, and 4.
Oh wow.
The 2023 The Color Purple, this year's The Gorge, and collaborates with GDT again on Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley, and Frankenstein.
Oh wow.
And is his name ringing a bell?
Listen, we just heard me forget things.
So
Say his name
true.
again.
Dan Laustsen.
We've talked about Danish DPs at least like 5
Mhm,
times before.
mhm.
What other thing was he?
He is the one, and I'm sure this is the one that got him this project, since it
Okay,
seems,
Crosby.
I believe
Okay.
this is the first thing he worked on with GDT, and then
Yeah.
goes on to be one of his favorite cinematographers to collaborate with. He's the one who shot Silent Hill.
No, fuck that. Duh. I was like,
Right?
what? I was trying to think of what vibe
Yes.
have we covered.
Well, and especially Silent Hill came out in
aesthetically.
2006. GDT said he wrote the script in 2006. I bet you at the time he
He's like, "Oh, I can
watched
do
Silent
this."
Hill and was like, I want it to look like that.
somebody please find information that confirm that. That's so.
Especially
if someone gets in a panel with him, ask him that
right?
question.
Please, somebody
post
ask
it
GDT.
online.
Especially thinking
Wow.
about that final climactic scene with that intense fog. Like, who else do you get for your fog DP? It's the Silent Hill guy.
That's really fucking cool.
I was
That's
so
really
satisfied by that.
cool.
And soundtrack, I adore the soundtrack to
it's
this
so
movie. It's
good.
so good. It's so gothic. It's
Yeah.
so memorable. Like the themes in this movie are really they stay with you afterwards. One of them is written by GDT himself, which I thought was adorable.
That's really cute.
And the soundtrack as a whole is composed by Fernando Velasquez, who we've talked about before, because he also composed The Orphanage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that Fernando sounds really familiar.
He also did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. The M. Night Shyamalan scripted but not directed Devil, the one about like the devil in a elevator movie.
Yeah.
And Mama, the debut feature from Andy Muschietti. And the full soundtrack runs 74 minutes, which I had to shout out because that's so much music. That's a huge portion of the movie. And I love it. And it never felt like too much to me. There was never a scene where I was like, stop leading me with this music. No. It always felt...
Either of these. I was listening to the soundtrack this morning for Sleepy Hollow.
And of course, Tim Burton, he's another one who likes to have really through-composed soundtracks where, Elfman is commenting the whole time. And like it feels like he's another character kind of bouncing around and going, oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do.
Yep. I'm going to give you a note for everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that though. Me and you, we talked about. I love listening to soundtracks. Just casually.
Yeah, and you could consider it Mickey Mousing, where like everything that's done on screen is scored, but it works for this to me. I think because it feeds into the style so
and if done
so
well.
Yes,
it becomes one. It's not a separate thing. It's
Strongly
the same as
agree.
Costumes and set and makeup and actors and everything coming together. So I think if
done
well, it's just part of the puzzle.
Yes.
Done wrong, you notice it. Yeah. And it's the true Mickey Mousing of it.
And it becomes distracting and leading. I think part of why it works here is because it is so much built off of existing themes that return and recur. So it doesn't feel like he's saying something about what I should be feeling about this. It's more like he's saying something about how this connects to another part of the movie.
Yep.
Which I love. Release.
Yeah.
Before we get into the actual release proper, I want to talk a little bit about how it's teased, because as I mentioned, this was a film that got its kind of big announcement at Comic-Con. Long lead up, beginning with July of 2014.
Okay.
Just a couple of months after the film had wrapped. So in the midst of post-production, GDT has to leave and go do this Comic-Con thing where they bring in the snowy gates at like the start of the Legendary booth. So you walk into Legendary Pictures through the Allerdale Hall gate. They have a prop knife from the film on display. They have the wallpaper that says Fear. So cool. So it's like a museum exhibit type of thing that you can walk through. The first trailer drops the day before Valentine's, wins a bunch of trailer awards, actually.
Whoa.
Partially because it uses a PJ Harvey cover of Nick Cave's Red Right Hand, the song that plays in Scream.
Oh, the ding.
Yeah,
ding.
do that one.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Cover of that by PJ Harvey. Had to go and watch it. It works really
Does
well
it?
with it.
Okay, yeah. My brain's trying to like wrap around.
It's a really good trailer, but
cool.
I was like, I don't think any films we've talked about before have won trailer awards.
Yeah,
so
no, we've never talked about
had to shout that out.
Talked about bad trailers, though.
We sure have. This premieres with a secret screening at Fantastic Fest in December of 2015. So for what it's worth, because we've talked about Frankenstein kind of being released on the film festival circuit, despite being like a giant $100 million Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Not the first Del Toro project to do that.
So cool. Yeah, it's interesting.
So just shouting that out for context. Theatrical release then comes in October, so not exactly a super long wait after the Fantastic Fest in September. It does also mean, from what I read, the distributors had planned that this was gonna be a Halloween time release from the beginning. So even though it was shot in early 2014 and post-production wrapped quite a bit before it was released, they then kind of sat on it for a while before it actually hits theaters.
That's cool. We don't hear that often.
We don't hear that often. It's
That
kind of
they wait
interesting.
for
So
a perfect release.
yeah, I wanted to shout that out that they actually took the time to release it
Yeah.
at the time that was best for it.
Very cool.
Although, as we'll talk about,
I
that doesn't go entirely
know.
successfully for them.
Bummer.
But it also has both a standard and IMAX release, which means that they also had to be filming with 2
Whoa.
cameras the whole time.
What?
So yeah, which I feel like I would
Weird.
have been the target audience for the IMAX release of this film, and
Yeah.
I did
Well,
not
with
know
the
that
with the
happened.
sets and everything, like the
Yeah.
big scope of everything.
It
Wild.
mhm.
Somebody re-release it
I
in IMAX.
know.
What the
I mean,
fuck?
it's 10 years old this year.
Let's go. Let's
go. Let's see. So gets nominated for a bunch of Empire Awards, which is a British film award, Fangoria Chainsaws, and Saturns. So
Oh,
lots of
nice.
genre-specific
Yeah.
awards.
That's
Actually,
awesome, actually.
it wins 3 Saturns for Best Horror Film, Best Production Designer, and Best Actress for Jessica Chastain.
Love.
Chastain also gets a chainsaw, Fangoria Chainsaw. Love
Oh,
that she
gosh.
gets the
She
proper.
really loves that thing.
Yeah, truly. And there are spin-offs to this film. Universal adapts it for a Halloween Horror Nights Maze,
Oh.
which, like, I feel like that would have been incredible.
Whoa.
I would have loved that.
Do you know what year?
I don't know. I
Okay.
wish
I'm
I
gonna
did.
look that up now. That's really cool.
And there's a novelization of it published by author Nancy Holder through Titan Books, which had just done the Pacific Rim novelization. So again,
There you
lots of
go.
Pacific Rim crew on this
Funny
one.
they both got a novelization.
Yeah, I would not have expected either of these films
No.
to be
Yeah.
honest. So do you want to take a guess at how much this earns?
I'm like, okay, earned. I'm assuming it earned back.
Yes, it made its money back.
I'm gonna say like 80 million.
You're quite close. Total is 74.7.
Okay. Oh,
Which
man,
it's
bummer.
so depressing.
And you know
for-
they spent some money on marketing
Oh,
too.
of course they did. So given that it was
damn.
55, it earns 31 million in North America plus another 43.6 internationally.
Oh,
So it did better
funny.
internationally.
I think mine did by like 1 million.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense to me that this one would be
Yeah, they appreciate
yeah.
the gothic horror more.
Yes!
It's
Which,
gothic
yeah.
romance.
I have a lot of thoughts about
Damn.
that. So it like at least made its production budget back, but given the scale of the release, I would not be surprised if it ended up being in the red at the end.
Yeah.
And that poor performance was very much unexpected. They really
Sure.
thought that this film was going to do well.
I mean, they picked it over Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and I mean, I think because of that, there was
Damn.
actually a lot more post-mortem analysis of the theatrical release than
Oh,
I usually am able to
no.
find, and so
Yeah, there's usually nothing.
yeah, and so I got like full audience breakdowns on who came to this movie, which was fascinating. So,
Whoa.
gender breakdown 60% women, no surprise there.
Yeah.
55% at least 25. So, the audience age skews older than is typical, which is a big part of what this film was fighting against. There were a whole lot of really popular PG-13 movies out the same week as this, which we're going to talk about in a second. Also, only 52% of the audience were white, which I love.
Oh, great.
Had its audience skewed heavily Hispanic.
Yeah.
Which love to shout that out. Again,
Yeah.
never get that data to shout out, but
Oh.
so what was it released at the same time as? This comes out on the same day as
Oh.
Bridge of Spies.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I think it won Oscars
okay.
that year. It was a Spielberg movie.
Okay. Well,
Oscar-winning
damn.
Spielberg PG-13 movie.
Yikes.
Goosebumps comes out the same day too. A movie called Woodlawn, which I'm not familiar with, and The Martian was out and doing giant box office business at the same time.
Yeah.
So
And that kind of swept.
yeah, swept like everything.
God
So I think what would have been its typical adult audience were perhaps being drawn into other stuff at the time. It also, this was the same time that A24 had just dropped Room in limited release, which is like at the point when A24 still felt like it was really ahead of the curve in how it was releasing
Yeah.
things. So
damn.
it does seem again like it did well overseas by comparison. Weirdly, it was number 2 in its opening weekend at the box office in Russia.
Oh.
Behind only The Martian. The Russians really,
Really
liked
liked-
Crimson Peak, which is like
So
so
interesting.
funny to me because like this movie is so full of like incest and stuff like that like I would
Yeah.
think such a like moralistically strict government on the art that it's letting
Oh,
in would have trouble
yeah.
with. But
yeah.
apparently incest is fine as long as there's no gays in your
Yeah.
movie. Anyway, I also wrote after that cold recognize cold, I guess. Like
Truly.
it is a very cold movie, lots of snow.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about the critical reception? So this film currently
no.
holds a 72% from
Oh,
critics on Rotten
more than mine.
Tomatoes. So yeah, it's like around the same area.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
but just a 56 from audiences, which
Why don't people
fascinates
like
me.
it?
It's usually, I feel like it's the other way around, where if there's a big disparity, it's that
Yeah.
audiences like it more than critics. And I think this might be the first film I've seen where for critics it was a fresh score and for audiences it was rotten, which is
Damn.
like, that's fascinating. That
Yeah.
does not happen. So positive reception, but pretty mildly so. This is not a case of like a bunch of very polarizing love versus hate reviews adding up
Right.
into the middle. It's more a whole lot of, it's pretty good. But who does love it is horror writers. Stephen King says that he watched it and it reminded him of seeing Evil Dead for the first time.
Oh,
Which
interesting.
That's high praise, especially
Yeah.
given that his love of Evil Dead was like a big part of what got that movie the giant release that it
Yeah,
got
yeah,
and kind of
yeah.
helped make Sam Raimi's career.
That's cute.
And his son Joe Hill called it, quote, Del Toro's blood-soaked Age of Innocence, a gloriously sick waltz through Daphne du Maurier territory.
Oh, that's great.
So, like, if anybody's gonna get it, it's the horror lit baddies.
Yeah.
And there is a great review from Robbie Martin in the Daily Telegraph that I think really gets at the heart of why this film was so tepidly received by a lot of audiences. And so I wanted to bring this in. This says, quote, its somber sincerity and hypnotic treasure box beauty make Crimson Peak feel like a film out of time. But Del Toro, his cast, and his crew carry it off without a single postmodern prod or smirk. The film wears its heart on its sleeve, along with its soul and most of its intestines.
That's so perfect. Treasure
Yes.
box too, because you are
Yeah.
just slowly pouring these things out.
And I truly
great.
do think that is exactly why this film did not get received the way it deserved to be. I think it
Yeah.
came out at the absolute peak of this intense wave of distrust towards sincerity in horror. And I think a lot of what I associate with like the elevated horror that I talk about so much on here is this kind of sense of, oh, we're not really horror, not like
Right,
that cheap
right.
bloody stuff. We're
Right.
sophisticated because we're making fun of the tropes of the genre.
Right,
We're not
right.
really genre. We're
Especially
above it.
2015 too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like the height of that. And so for you to release something that is a loving homage to old horror films that really take the genre seriously,
Just
I feel
long
like it
time.
elicited a reaction of embarrassment in audiences. Like I feel like it elicited like a cringe, this is too honest, too
Yeah.
earnest, too heartfelt.
Yeah, it does feel like a very like. It's not like it doesn't read to the masses, right? Because
Right.
everything in there is very relatable in
Yeah,
some way.
absolutely.
But I do feel like it's a very specific people like this film,
Mm-hmm.
and you can kind of tell what else they like if
Yes,
they like this
very
film.
much. Yeah. And I want to stake out the territory that I really do think this film is going to get reclaimed as a masterpiece.
I
Like,
hope so.
I don't know, maybe
People should
40
talk about it
years from
more.
now. I think we're just still in the midst of a moment of distrust of sincerity in
Yeah.
movies.
I wonder though, with like
especially in horror.
the films that are coming out that we're seeing, like the Frankensteins.
People
Again,
are
I don't
reacting
know.
really well to it, and
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like,
hoping that Frankenstein brings up about a reappreciation of Crimson
yeah,
Peak.
me too.
Because
Even
again, I
Sleepy
think they're
Hollow doesn't
working in
get
very
love.
similar spaces.
Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
what were you saying?
I'm just saying, even Sleepy Hollow, I feel like doesn't
Yeah.
get talked about in the same, and but they're very specific, and I
And
just,
it's
yeah,
again very kind of sincere about its genre.
Mhm.
But the more negative reviews, I think, are pretty
no.
well summed up by this quote from Sarah Stewart in the New York Post, who wrote in a review titled,
Oh, no.
Without Scares, Crimson Peak is just real estate porn, that, that quote, oh God.
Oh God.
Chastain and Wasikowska take center stage while Hiddleston flutters around like one of Allerdale's huge black moths. Watching the women square off with Del Toro's eye-popping painterly palette is a feast for the eyes, if not particularly substantial fare for the mind. Which, so like basically all style, no substance, but
Yeah,
also...
what the fuck? But that's so, like, they give, like, especially Chastain and Hiddleston give, like, such thick performances.
I honestly think that the way that critique is being applied here is really gendered and really
Yeah.
like especially her being like, yeah, it's all about watching the women square off, but it's so pretty and like it's so
Yeah.
I want there to be more Hiddleston is what I hear in that
Yeah,
review.
him just fluttering around. That's so wild. Give
as-
us some flutter around.
Yeah, well, it's like it feels like what's under the surface is this like, oh, this is too concerned with prettiness to be saying something.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
one of Del Toro's favorite quotes that he loves to give, that I've heard him say in like dozens of interviews over the
Yeah.
years is he says, I don't make eye candy, I make eye protein.
Oh my
I
God,
want it to be nutritious. I want to
stop.
give you something that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and that's the thing too. Is she factoring in the context of the
Right.
director, and clearly
Right.
not. So
Of course. I mean, also, like, it's the New York Post. Do we really expect it to be great? But, like, it's also that gets at the heart of what a lot of the negative reviews I read were
interesting.
saying, but it
I just
just
don't think
says
it
it
was
very
for them.
directly.
That's my point. Is I think it
Yeah.
is for a specific audience,
Mhm.
and you can gauge a reaction by
And
their
again, I
critique of
think
it.
there's a lot of, I think there's some sexism going into it because it is so much, this is a genre that is so coded feminine, that is so
Mhm.
associated with women.
Oh
And
yeah,
especially because
all the
he's like,
characters you.
it's not a horror movie, it's a romance.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole lot of like oh, this is just a bunch of women fluttering around in pretty clothes
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
like looking down your nose at things that are coded feminine. And fuck that,
Yeah,
frankly.
truly.
Let's see. Oh, just a couple of little watch notes that I wanted to shout out. Talking about the idea of circles and recurrence
Yes.
that I quoted him on. A couple of other places I noticed that he does a lot of the oh my gosh, what's it called? The like aperture effect, where to close in on
Yes.
something.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. What's it called? I love
gosh, I
that.
can't
That
remember
makes
the
me.
word.
Iris does.
Iris, thank you. The iris in on things.
Is it
So-
called anything specific? Just iris?
An iris,
That's
yeah.
just it.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought there was a
Um,
more technical term for that specific.
But obviously,
that's on the nose. Isn't
that's an in-camera
Mm.
circular effect. The door to Allerdale has 3 interlocking circles, like our 3 characters. Yeah, let's see what else. Oh, I also loved that she and Thomas get matching cheek wounds. It feels like there's a whole lot of paired
Oh.
symbolism going on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That I just wanted to shout
Oh,
that out.
yeah.
That's what I've got for Crimson
That's amazing.
Peak. I just
I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, I'm so
Again, I
glad.
kind of had an unfair assumption of, because there's just, I think also just, it's so fantastical. I'm not super familiar with Del Toro's more fantastical
Mhm.
films, that I think I just assumed more things were CGI.
Than
So
are.
I'm really
Yeah,
happy.
it's
Especially that set. I haven't looked it up, but I
Mhm.
always wondered if that was practical or not. That's wild.
completely
Is it
real.
like 3 story? How?
It's they
5
used
stories? 3 stories?
it's 3 stories, and they used 3 full stories of the soundstage to build it too, which is like I
That's
think the
insane.
only other film we've talked about that used that much of a soundstage was Alien.
Yeah.
Like
I was I don't know. I think I must have skipped over it. One of the scenes in Sleepy Hollow,
mhm.
they had to knock down a wall of to make room for it. I want to say it might have. Oh my God, I don't know which one it was.
Wild.
But yeah, to make room because they just couldn't fit stuff on there, and I was like,
Mhm.
damn. Also, small studio on the one, but yeah, that's so cool. No, I love it. I'm happy to hear. I mean, Del Toro is just a lovely
He's so
director,
wonderful.
writer, producer to talk about.
Again, he's
so.
like one of my favorite human beings working in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah.
Like I just think he's
Doing it right.
he's just doing it right.
Yeah.
He's a good person.
Has a soul.
He has
in
a
Hollywood.
soul. Yeah. Did you see the quote from him where somebody posted about how he has like the soul of like a 17-year-old girl writing in her notebook, and he's like, I believe I do.
Oh my God! Stop. That was what they wanted for Johnny Depp's character of Ichabod.
Yes!
Is they said they basically he channeled like a little girl, like a
Yes!
frightened little girl.
Yes!
So that's so funny. So many parallels. I mean, these feel very in conversation on different
Mhm.
ends of. I mean, everything, acting, color palette,
Yeah.
cinematography, like they're
Yeah.
so different, but they're
They're so
similar.
related.
Yeah. I loved these two. It's
They're
hard
like
to move
2
on. I
branches
don't
on
want
the same family
I
tree.
know. I don't want to move on
I
from these
know,
movies. I
I
don't
love
want to
our-
choose otherwise.
I love our sumptuous gothic stuff, and I
Yeah.
really we've got to plan another vampire pairing soon to get back into
Yeah.
that territory. I feel like based on this, you're really gonna like Only Lovers Left Alive. 'Cause
I'm
again,
gonna
very
die.
Similar.
I've been saving that
Yeah.
one too because
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's just gonna be
You're gonna eat it up
yeah.
with a spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to move on from these films.
And we are gonna do something really fun.
I'm
next.
excited for the
I'm-
next
Yeah.
two, to be
it's-
fair. One I've watched a bunch of times, the other
I've not
um,
watched either of these. Yeah.
you wanna I'll let you share.
Yeah, so we're heading back into wolf territory,
Yeah.
which feels very like end of November-y.
Mhm.
Like I don't know,
Yeah.
the wolves are going back into their dens, so we
Yeah.
are too.
There was
I
a
don't
full
know.
moon the other night.
There was,
Super moon too.
yeah, it was very bright, and I had very weird
Very
dreams.
bright,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ugh. Don't want to think about that. So we are covering American Werewolf in London
Yes, which is so iconic.
and The Howling. So you're
Howling.
gonna do American Werewolf,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Is that what we decided?
We said
Yeah.
like Because you haven't seen either.
I haven't seen
I
either.
think they both look fucking incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I
you
feel like
have
it's
seen American Werewolf, right? So that's the one you're more familiar with,
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to do a better job finding the information for the Halloween than I would, to be fair.
I love the special effects chat.
Yeah. I feel like you're going to be, you're better at digging up the internet, unearthing facts than I am there.
I'm excited to go digging for stuff there.
This would be fun. So.
Yeah, and another chance to dig into some very stylized stuff, even if stylized in a very different way.
Yeah. I'm excited. The special effects for those two are. When did they come out?
Both early 80s. I should have
80s?
written them.
I'm so curious
down,
of
and I didn't.
them in conversation.
Yeah, because I think they're only like 3 years apart or something like that, and I don't even remember which one came first.
Look it up.
Yeah,
sorry guys.
Howling is 81.
Howling's 81.
And American Werewolf is 1981.
Oh
shit!
We've
They're
never
the
done that
same year.
before.
Are these too similar? Are we worried?
I'm excited.
Okay.
I think that's fun.
Let's keep it
Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
Perfect. So,
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Love.
Great. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What?
American Werewolf playing at the theater.
Yes, Spanish Acanto Cinema. We're presenting it. We won't be there for it.
Tickets will be.
Yeah, they're on
tickets
sale.
are on sale. Yeah.
So you can go get tickets to see that on the big screen, which I feel like is super fun. I never go see movies, so
yeah, so
at
true.
The theater. So, so we have that, and then if you guys want to help kind of keep our podcast afloat, we have some like changes coming about. We have for 3 months you can help fund the podcast. So the link is in our bio. You can be a supporter and we'll shout you out. So that's kind of fun. So we appreciate that if you do that. It's only $3 a month.
Yeah,
it's
and it
like barely. What can you even buy for $3 a month? I'm gonna be honest.
Honestly, nothing. Not even a coffee. You can't buy a coffee, but you can buy our love.
You can buy our love.
So that's the best Black Friday deal that you'll get this year. Buy our love for $3.
Other than that, I think just keep sharing our podcast with people. It's really cool to see like new listeners.
I feel like we're
welcome new listeners.
Yeah, welcome new listeners. We love you. I think we're right about at 5. We're almost gonna hit 5K. And I think we need to do a giveaway when we hit that on Instagram. On Instagram,
yeah. We do have like a lovely little. I'm looking at the fun gifty that we're gonna give away.
I'm very excited,
which is sitting right here.
It is.
And
I also think we're I know we've been talking about it. We've been teasing it for so long, but we're around the corner from being able to do bonus episodes for patrons. We got some changes. So that's where your support and just sharing Carmack's hitting the ground
helpful.
on that. Yeah.
In the times where everything's really expensive and everything sucks.
Yes.
At the very least, sharing this with people is also super helpful. Commenting and liking stuff. So you can find us everywhere. Splice and Splatter Pod on all the things. You can see our cool fits today on YouTube. At least just peek.
Peek at the peaks.
Yeah, peek at the. I'm gonna I have to do the rest of my day dressed as Ichabod Crane. Just so you know.
Honestly, knowing the meetings that you're going into today, that's incredible. I love that.
I'm gonna look like an asshole. Should I just walk with the candelabra?
You're gonna look powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, we honestly, I think all that's missing is like a Phantom of the Opera mask.
Listen, this was a closet outfit, and the fact that I just have this, the only thing I bought was I have a ribbon.
That's incredible.
But so that's me as a whole. Otherwise, thanks Trav for being audio and camera today. We're all very panicked.
It was a big day for us on the audio front.
Yeah.
Thank you to our absent currently producer Warren Langford, who taught me how to do the audio. So hopefully by the time y'all are hearing this,
we do you proud.
The audio will sound like Warren sounds. We'll see.
By we, I mean Siena's doing the audio.
Yeah, if not, it's my fault. So you know who to blame. It's not Warren, it's me.
We'll be good. We'll be good. So
thank you to Theo Schaefer for playing us out, and thank you to all of you for making this possible.
Growing so much.
Yeah, we adore our little
season
3 family. Yeah, so happy season 3.
Yay.
Yeah,
us. And until then, thanks.
Oh yeah, thanks Al.
Thanks Sienna. Thanks for listening to Splice and Splatter,
the film podcast where classic horror meets modern gore. Until next time,
we'll be right back.